what to tell you, man. That should have been maybe 1 or 2 runs, maybe in the game, 6 or 7, and maybe more. And it was just another 6-inning game, or 6-run game. So I'm just really disappointed. I mean, I was in complete control and then just let it get away there.
Let's get nasty on a Wednesday. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. 2:02. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. That was Adam Wainwright talking about his performance last night. Unfortunately for Adam Wainwright, things went sideways in a hurry. In the bottom of the 4th inning of that loss to the Pirates, he surrendered 6 runs across 4 2/3. In that loss, 3 perfect innings, guys, 3 perfect innings, but the game got out of hand in the 5th. He allowed he actually got the first out of the inning, and then allowed a single. Then there's an infield single, then a bunt single, then a ground out, which scored a run. Then the Reynolds double, then the McCutchen home run, then Joe doubled.
What was your impressions of the foul ball that Tyler O'Neill didn't get to? I'm on this horse. I don't care. I don't care.
What was your impressions, Jamie?
I don't want to taint the audience here at all. So I'm going to ask you guys. Honestly, what was your impression of that foul ball that Tyler O'Neill casually jogged to?
I think you and I are on the same page here, Jamie. Not only last night with Tyler O'Neill, but with his entire season. If you're injured, fine. You're out. But if you're playing, you got to go full bore. I didn't realize that Tyler O'Neill at some point became Mike Trout or became Shohei Ohtani or became somebody that could kind of ease off of it over the course of 162 games. Bryce Harper is still going into walls, making $300 million. He's still going into camera wells. At some point, you either have that in you or you don't. And Tyler O'Neill doesn't. So for me last night, whether you look at last night or the start of the year when a lot of people were split, or even more so in Tyler O'Neill's camp when Oli kind of called him out, or the other night with the fly ball that dropped down.
Ran half a football field to get to.
It's the same story. You gotta believe what Tyler O'Neill is telling you who he is as a player.
I'm fed up with it. And Oli, this one's on you at this point. You keep wheeling him out there. What it does is it literally shows what is acceptable. Tyler O'Neill plays every game. You're almost condoning the behavior. Now, I know Oli, it probably drives him nuts, and I bet you John Mosaic in the front office, hey, listen, we got to get this guy's games in, up his value in the offseason. If I was Oli Marmol, I'd say, here's where I'm at, guys. If you want me to manage this team next year, and you want to turn it around, and you want to change everything that went wrong this year, which is things like this, Tyler O'Neill cannot play. If you make me play him, you're going to have to fire me. But remember, you'll fire me over Tyler O'Neill, who won't be here again next year. And then maybe the midway point is that he gets benched for 3-4 games.
Yeah.
And you try him again. I'm sick of it. I honestly, if I was his teammate, man, we'd be head-on collision in that clubhouse. Especially when I got guys like Nolan Arenado and Goldie that are battling through small injuries. Nolan Arenado's been banged up throughout the season, and those guys just keep running out there. And Nolan Arenado diving towards the baseline, grabbing one, throwing one off the back leg. All of the things you're trying to do to win baseball games. Got Mason Wynn, who's hustling everywhere, which I know he's a young guy, he should be, but you're creating a culture.
Right.
You are, and that play could have been a big play. Like, I know they have a guy there that could tag up, but Tyler O'Neill coming in at full speed, getting that ball with the arm that he has, I bet you the guy doesn't tag up because all the momentum is carrying him towards where he needs to make the play. And now you got one more out up on the board. Help Bueno out a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't just jog in and say, well, it was a better play to let it drop, and then we can look for the double play ball. What if it never comes?
Right.
It didn't.
Right.
It didn't. Get the out that's there. Okay, sacrifice a run instead of 4, 5.
Yep.
I was beside myself when I saw it, Anthony, and I'm over it.
We got a text from the 636. It's also decreasing his trade value in the offseason, whether that is him dogging it or if you don't end up playing him. But at what point... What value does he have?
What value does he have?
Yeah, in the locker room or in the clubhouse.
Yeah, and I'm not minimizing what the texter texted in here. What trade value does he have?
The texter said it's no excuse.
Yeah, right.
He doesn't have any value. This is what puzzles me is John Mozeliak is not going to boost his value. Like, it's not like Tyler O'Neill's going to go out there and hit 25 bombs from here to the end of the season, and somebody goes, man, I just have to have him. Yeah. If I'm John Mozeliak, I'm hoping that somebody takes him as an add-on in a trade to get me a pitcher.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're right, Jamie. There is no value.
The culture's more important than the freaking play, what you get back on the return right now.
Right. That's the big thing. You talk about the Cardinal way. That it's seemingly that the Cardinals have gotten away from the Cardinal way. There's a reason why the Cardinals have done things the way they have done for decades now. I apologize for the cross-sport comparison, but there was a reason why the New England Patriots won as much as they did. That team practiced hard. Accountability everywhere. Veterans helping out the young guys, not only to help them understand what it was like to play in the big leagues, but also what it was like to play a very specific way. And the Cardinals have gotten away from that in years. You do not see that same steady presence, that same culture. Carlos Martinez, all over the map. Genesis Cabrera had some issues. They traded him. I know he's pitching well now, but there's a reason why they dealt him. Ryan Helsley can only go, one inning, and then he needs
3 months off.
You need to start weeding some of these.
Anthony, I'm sorry.
You do though, Jamie. You and I are in lockstep on this. There's certain guys you can't win around.
Personalities in that clubhouse.
Yes, which is a shame because Goldie goes to the post every day. Arenado goes to the post every single day. Like you mentioned,
Tommy Edman
how about
plays
Wilson
hurt.
Contreras in the middle of you're in dead last. The frustration is already boiled over, and he's still fired up. Still drawing in the line there for the umpires, throwing the bat, he's throwing the helmet. He's ticked off. He cares. Who doesn't care on this roster? Weed them out. There's a fair amount of Cardinals fans that want to see Oli Marmol fired and Mo fired. Maybe we'll get there eventually. But right now you've got some players on this roster that are clearly angling for something outside of wins.
Yeah, good. And let them go angle somewhere else.
Go for it. You go
That's
to
what
Oakland.
I'm saying. And look, Lisa and some other people are on Oli Marmol's butt right now, saying, he's the guy and he's ruined the culture. I'm going to push back on that. And by the way, Lisa, I got your card today at the radio station. Thank you so much for being so kind and sending that. Thank you. But I do think you're wrong about Oli Marmol. Talking to people behind the scenes that are in it every day with Oli Marmol, they say he's a stand-up guy. It's all about culture. It's all about caring about your teammates. But there's only so much he can do when he's forced to put certain guys out there. What's he going to do? He's not Tony La Russa, and I don't mean in his managerial skills. He doesn't have the clout, which is problematic. Like, at some point, Ollie's going to have to dig his heels in and go, nah, or just not say a word and just not play him. And then deal with John Mozeliak in the morning in his office. Hey, I'm not playing the guy. You can fire me, and I'm going to tell everybody in the press you fired me over Tyler O'Neill. Because that's what this is about.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. I'm telling you right now, a team that's losing like this, establishing the culture before the season ends is imperative. So that when spring training rolls around and free agents are signed and you acquire players, the players who are on this roster see the guys you're bringing in, see the guys you're signing. They know the culture that's there. They're like, yes, I can get on board for this. I will go out there and I will leave my left arm in the outfield if I have to. Yep. Because this team, I know the guy beside me is going to do the same damn thing.
Absolutely.
Right now, you don't have that. And this is why they're losing. Jamie
Rivers, Anthony Stalter, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Speaking of Lisa, was she right all along about one thing and specifically? We'll get to that a little bit later on. Brad Thompson, though, will join us next. The Cardinals and Pirates are in a rain delay right now. The Cardinals are winning currently, but BT has an opportunity to take a step away as the Cardinals are up 5-2 in the top of the sixth as they're in a rain delay. So we'll talk to BT about a variety of topics next here on 101 ESPN. The Missouri Athletic Club, great spot for a variety of things. When it comes to the West Clubhouse, I talk about this a lot. I love just kind of going down there, get my workout in, use the business center, maybe get something to eat there. Networking, it's perfect for various clubs that they have for the kids and my family overall. But when it comes to the downtown spot, during the summertime, great for Cardinals games, park at the lot there and take their shuttle over. But when it comes to the Missouri Athletic Club downtown, man, they do events all the time. They got speaker series, they got the Joe Buck and Chip Carey media series that they have going on where they're going to talk about the history of broadcasting here in St. Louis and Cardinals baseball and what it has meant to the city. So they're always thinking of new ways to incorporate legends here in St. Louis, whether it's sports or otherwise, and into their speaker series. I think they do a great job, and proud to be a member of the Missouri Athletic Club. That's my MAC. Well, in case you don't know, Marshy was giving you a subtle clue there that the Cardinals and Pirates are in a rain delay right now. Top of the sixth. The Cardinals are winning 5-2, but it gives us a chance.
I thought it was more like the calendar of the rainbows and lollipops. Remember how Meat used to play the thunderstorms?
That's pretty good.
I thought that might have been it.
Maybe. Nope. Brad Thompson joins us right now from PNC Park. What's up, BT?
I am sitting here watching a tarp without rain on it. It has not been raining basically since they pulled said tarp, but apparently there is a system that's behind it, and apparently there's a lot of rain that is following too.
So they couldn't just get a whole nother inning or two in before that? Or?
Well, it's an official ball game at this point, so if they do want to call it, they absolutely can. Now, I think that they're still probably selling Yinglings at this point. There might be some Yinglings, some pierogies that are flying off the shelf. But look, not to dig too deep into this, but I have been watching. I've seen all of the members of the bullpen come in. They've brought all their stuff in. My understanding that some players might have grabbed their bats out of the bat rack already. So maybe they know something that we don't know. Maybe they will bang this thing. But until we get official word, I have no clue. I do know this, though. It was nice to see the Cardinals score a little bit early in this one, jump all over their starter, Luis Ortiz, who had some control issues, and Zach Thompson looked good. There have not been too many positive boys here recently for the Redbirds. August has been a struggle. This road trip has not started off great with the first couple of games here, so it was nice to see a good start against Pittsburgh today.
So I want to start right there with Zach Thompson, BT. This young man just seems to keep answering the bell. Every time he's called upon recently, he's had really good starts. Now, what are you seeing from this kid right now that looks different than maybe what he was doing before?
Yeah, look, I'm seeing confidence, first of all. I'm seeing him actually get ahead, and the numbers really do bear that out for him. He's getting strike one more. There was a point in this ball game where he was 14 of 16 first pitch strikes, so that was great to see. And even when he's not getting the first pitch, he lands the second pitch and evens up counts. That's a big difference from where he was at before. I think he was nibbling a little bit before. And one of the biggest differences when we're talking about arsenal-wise for him is him using that cutter. We've seen a lot in this ball game already. His ability to keep right-handers honest and get them to swing over it, that cutter in on their hand, and then the lefty, he can get them to wave at it. So it's not just four-seam curveball that you're looking for all the time. He's added another wrinkle to it, and I think it's made it effective. But the biggest thing he has going for him, and honestly, any pitcher, is confidence. If you go out there and you believe that you are going to mow down the opposition and you are not afraid to throw your stuff within the zone, then you're going to have success. And that's what we've seen. And in this ball game today, he threw 90 pitches. He threw 28 of those new cutters. And he talked about it a couple of games ago. I think it was after the game in Kansas City maybe, where he came in for Waino. He said that pitch feels better to him than anything else. I think that's been a real big addition for him. And not to say it's going to be just like Clayton Kershaw's, but he kind of likened it, and Adam Wainwright likened it to that pitch, that cutter that is so effective for him.
BT, Drew Rom got the bump a couple of games ago, and obviously it didn't go the way the young man wanted. A couple of things regarding Drew Rom. One, what happens in the clubhouse after a start like that? Like, do the veterans go talk to him? Does Oli put his arm around him? I mean, first game in the bigs, and it didn't go the way he wanted.
No, it did not, and that's one of the things. Like, it's hard to evaluate a guy off of their major league debut, right? And obviously, Drew Rom wanted that to go a lot better than it ended up going for him. But you know how it is, man. He goes 3 2/3. He ends up giving up 8 runs, 6 of them earned, and it looked like it was going to go well, and it looked like things could have been different had a play or two been made behind him, or a call was made, but it didn't. But, yeah, to your point, that's what teammates do, right? You rally around a guy, you give him a pat on the behind, you say, hey, go get him next time. And the beauty of it is for Drew Rom is there's going to be a next time. Oli Marmol, Dusty Blake, the staff want to get a chance to see him again, and they will. He'll end up pitching the finale over there in Philadelphia. And I was asking Oli and Dusty the day after, so yesterday, what they saw from Rom, if there was something like an outlier, like forget the numbers, but like is there a pitch or something that they really want to see more of that maybe the numbers bear out that it's going to bear some success? And he really brought out his sweeping slider. And they said that the pitch is an outlier, the way that it moves and the profile on it. Now, he was inconsistent. He didn't land it. But they're thinking that if they give him another start, another opportunity, maybe some of those jitters won't be there for him, and he'll get an opportunity to let that thing shine. So your teammates always have your back in a moment like that. They want to see more success for you. It's a great experience. He had over 40 family members and friends in attendance. They were all down the line after the game. He's out there, putting on a happy face with his family and friends. I'm sure he was upset about how it went. But the fact that he knows he's going to get another one, I think that means a lot to him.
Brad Thompson joining us right now from PNC Park, where there's a rain delay in the top of the sixth. The Cardinals are up 5-2. One of the players who has looked good in the early going, BT, and not early going, but early going of this game, has been our guy Palacios, Richie Palacios. He's 3 for 3. Had the big hit in the first inning where he doubled and scored a couple of runs. Is there a chance that he could carve out a role for himself with his play over the next month and a half?
I think there's a chance for everybody to carve out a role for themselves in the next couple of weeks, right? And Richie Palacios, to your point, having a big day, 3 for 3. Jim Hayes interviewed his parents in the stands. They're all pumped up. His mom is changing jerseys every time one of the brothers is up to bat, changes jerseys, changes hats. When neither one of them is hitting, she mixes it up. It's like a Pirates hat and a Cardinals jersey. Like, there's a lot going on in this Palacios family. You can only imagine the excitement, right? You get 2 sons that are playing in the big leagues and playing against each other. It's awesome. But, well, we talked to Oli about him today again, actually, and he said, look, the player's intriguing. He brings an excitement level. He brings a different energy. And he mentioned both he and Mason Wynn being guys that can do that. And he said that there's enough there that they want to continue to tweak different things and maybe give him different things to work on and see how he responds with that. But right now, he's responded well. He's playing solid in the outfield. He's swinging a hot bat. He's not tentative up there. And a lot of times you see a guy, and I realize that it wasn't his major league debut with the Cardinals. He had some time with the Guardians. But a lot of times you see young guys come up and not be as aggressive. You're seeing him aggressive with the bat, and he's shown the ability to go the other way. And right now, if you are putting up numbers, if you're doing anything, if you're moving the needle offensively and you're out there hustling and making plays defensively, there are going to be reps for you. So, yeah, Anthony, I can absolutely see him being in more and more games down the stretch and just earning playing time. I think that's kind of where we're at with this outfield.
BT, Adam Wainwright with an outing again last night, and quite honestly, he was shoving through 4 innings, looking pretty good, looking pretty solid, and a victim of some circumstances in the 5th inning, ends up blowing up on the Cardinals. Just as you're watching Adam Wainwright, his last couple of starts, obviously not the result he wanted, but what are you seeing from him?
Well, look, you look at the line, and we talked about this during the broadcast last night, and we talked about it a little bit today during the broadcast. You look at Adam's line from yesterday, you see 4 2/3, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, and you just say, woof. Like, that was ugly. If you watch it, if you actually go back and see how things unfolded in that 5th inning, you see a play that was a tough play up the middle that wasn't made, that could have been an out. You see a call that wasn't made by home plate umpire Brendan Miller that escalated the inning, and there was a lot escalated by some calls that were and weren't made by home plate umpire Brendan Miller yesterday. Again, that's not the be-all, end-all, but it could have looked a lot different for Adam Wainwright. We saw him sharp. We saw him sharp with his stuff. It's not big-time swing and miss stuff. Like, we're past that part with Adam Wainwright in his career, but he was putting the ball where he wanted to. He was getting weak contact, and he looked very, very good in that game. And 2 starts ago, as we all remember, against the Royals, when he ended up giving up 8 runs in an inning plus, the thought was, like, what do you do with this guy? Do you even give him another opportunity? They did. He responded well against the Mets with a quality start, 6 innings, 3 earned runs, and then went out there and gave you a chance early. Unfortunately, was pulled after 69 pitches in his 4 2/3 because things just started going too fast. But I feel bad for Adam and the fact that, he's chasing 199 to get to 200, and it just feels like every time if something can happen, it will happen. And that was the case yet again in a 5th inning that snowballed, and you saw the Pirates get 5 runs. It's just difficult watching that over and over again.
BT, I hope they make a decision soon for you, and you have an opportunity to hop a flight and get out of Pittsburgh, and the Cardinals pick up a win here. But I know you got to hang out a little bit while longer as the rain delay continues. But we appreciate you joining us, man.
Guys, I hope this happens soon. Whatever happens, whether they play this thing out or they knock it out early, the Cardinals need a victory bad. You can't be coming to Pittsburgh and get shut out. There's just something bad about that feeling right there. And I'd also like it to happen pretty soon because I'm getting thirsty. And it's about time to get on a bird.
There you go. Good man. We'll see you next time.
All right, boys. Take care. Have a great show.
You too. Thanks. That's Brad Thompson again, live from PNC Park, where they're currently in a rain delay, where the Cardinals are up 5-2. As Brad mentioned, it is an official game. So if the Pirates and
I thought
Major
it had
League
to go
Baseball,
7. But I don't know.
Nope.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Apparently,
You're good.
no. Disappointed in myself, Anthony. Honestly, thought it had to go 7.
You're fine. Hopefully, Brad's fine. Getting on a plane soon.
He'll be fine.
Yeah. So again, Cardinals up 5-2 right now in Pittsburgh. Let's do some NFL odds and some picks, some MVP picks, maybe some other season prop plays and things like that. We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
If you're looking to buy a brand new vehicle or a pre-owned vehicle, look no further than Johnny Londoff Chevrolet. At Londoff Chevrolet, buying a car is way, way more than just the price tag. It's about you being happy. It's about you getting a great price. It's about you getting a great vehicle. It's about you feeling stress-free during the entire process. And the Londoff family that have been in business for over 80 years, they help you do that. I know this. I've been a customer at Londoff Chevrolet for well over 20 years, and I've never been disappointed. They do such a great job of making sure that you know everything about the vehicle. They walk you through the process. It's really simple, and you leave there very satisfied. And now the best part is they got 2 locations. So if you thought before, it's too far to get to Londoff Chevrolet in Florissant, Missouri, get over to Londoff Autoplex in St. Peters. It's located right off of Highway 70. Both locations have tremendous amount of inventory, state-of-the-art service centers as well. They've got you covered over there at Londoff Chevrolet. Please walk in and tell them Jamie Rivers sent you. If for some reason you can't get there in person, get there online. Visit Londoff.com or LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Yesterday, the Cardinals fell to the Pirates by a final score of 6-3. Adam Wainwright, who was in search of win number 199, went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 6 earned runs. He walked 1 and struck out 3. The Cards, however, looking to rebound today as they lead the Pirates 5-2. However, they are in the top of the 6th inning in a weather delay. So we'll keep you updated on that one. We just talked with BT. If you missed that, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the 101 mobile app. You can find our full show and all of our interviews there. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
I'll bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day.
Look, I just came here to give y'all props.
Gimme. Show me the money!
All right, thanks to our friends over at FanDuel, we're going to play a little game of NFL odds on favorites. So we're going to do NFL MVP odds, who's going to win the MVP this year. We're also going to do season leaders, most passing touchdowns, most rushing touchdowns, most receiving yards, again, based on the odds. So, you guys ready?
No.
Okay. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, Anthony Stalter, Jay Moole, rolling the fly.
Anthony knew I was going to say that.
He'll be fine. You guys want to start off with MVP? You want to start with the big one? Or do you want to go touchdowns, like passing, rushing, touchdowns?
Anthony, here's what I want. Okay? Here's what I want.
You want the big one.
I always do. But what I want from you, okay,
Yeah.
is you're the NFL guy. You're the gridiron guy, okay? Podcast available on all platforms, by the way. Anthony Stalter, our guy, Kerry Davis, gridiron guys. You don't want to miss it.
Well done.
So
pro.
you take control of this.
Okay. Deal.
Make this your, you know.
Yeah.
All right?
I'm actually going to start off with MVP.
Oh, not that one. I'm just
I gave you a chance. You blew it. Let's start off with MVP. We're going to start off with the one that I think is most talked
didn't matter
about.
what you said.
No, it really didn't. Yeah. Let's start off with most passing touchdowns. Son of a. All right.
All right, MVP. Yeah,
MVP.
you know me.
So I'll give you a couple of odds here. Patrick Mahomes is the current favorite at plus 600. That would mean you would wager $100 to win $600.
Yeah.
That's how that would go.
Is it?
Yes. If you were to wager $100, you would win $600 if Patrick Mahomes won.
I thought it was if you wager 600, you win 100 because the odds are so stacked.
So it's plus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if it was minus, that would be the case.
Oh, yeah. I
Yes.
get that all mixed up sometimes. You know, plus minus. It's
Who doesn't?
It's an overrated stat.
Yeah. Right. If you're $10 better and you wager $10 to win Patrick Mahomes to win the MVP, he wins, you would win $60.
All right, Anthony, what are
Okay.
you trying to tell me here?
So Patrick Mahomes is the current favorite at plus 600. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow have the next best odds at plus 700, respectively. Justin Herbert is plus 900. Jalen Hurts is plus 1,200. Aaron Rodgers is plus 1,600, as is Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Tua Tagovailoa, and Lamar Jackson. That's kind of the sweet spot for a lot of those guys. And I'll give you one more since he's been talked about a lot. Justin Fields is plus 2,000. Doesn't mean that other players don't have odds. It's just we're not going to sit here and tell you what all the odds are. So, Andrew Marsh.
Yes.
And you're gonna track these because you do a great job tracking them.
Yes.
Oh, he's tracked.
I didn't want my World Series.
I don't want to be held accountable.
I didn't want my World Series selection to be tracked, but he had that one the other day.
He
They
pulls
just-
that out of the dirt.
Yeah, he's like, oh, here I got it for you. The
Jamie,
White Sox,
You had the Mets.
who just fired their longtime GM and president of baseball
And
operations.
their
both of
mascot,
them.
I heard.
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody's gone.
Yeah, which I don't blame him based on some of the
Third
reports.
baseline, foul ball guy, he's
Everything
gone too.
out. Yep.
And
They're
his
cleaning
chair.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even want to fumigate that thing. They just want that gone. Somebody needs to
Take the
break it
damn
up.
chair with you.
See ya. So, Andrew Marsh, who is your MVP?
My MVP this year will be Jalen Hurts at plus 1,200. He was in the conversation last year. He got injured. I think he's going to have a monster year. And I think that he just continues to develop as an NFL quarterback. He has that mindset that you would love in a quarterback, and as a leader, I think he does it again and has an even better season than he did last year. He is my MVP at plus 1,200.
All right.
Jimmy Rivers.
That's a good pick.
It's a really good pick.
I'm going with a gentleman that is plus 1,600.
Can I guess?
Sure.
Trevor Lawrence.
Nope.
Lamar Jackson.
Well, Lamar Jackson, I think that they've built a pretty good offense up there in Baltimore. He's got a new offensive coordinator, which we're hoping translates into better overall offensive selections for Lamar Jackson. I think he's been an MVP before, so he's certainly got the ability to get there. I think this is another season he does it.
Okay. I'm going to go with Justin Herbert at plus 900. I think he's going to have to put up big-time numbers. I think the Chargers are going to have a good year this year. The Chargers are always snake-bitten every year. But the offensive line is I got him in that top 12 range, not necessarily top 10. But I think that Justin Herbert's got more than enough weapons. The way that he processes information is outstanding. I think it's one of his best attributes. He can run around a little bit. Again, he's got plenty of weapons. He doesn't have the best coaching, which holds him back. But I also think it requires him to do special things more often because he's going to have to save his team more times than not, too. So I got Justin Herbert at plus 900. I also thought about Jalen Hurts. I also thought about Lamar Jackson. I like Jalen Hurts a lot. He's got the best roster. He's got the best team. But for my money, I'm going to do Justin Herbert at plus 900.
Yeah, you are.
To win MVP. Let me clarify. All right, let's go most passing touchdowns. Marsh, who do you got for most passing touchdowns? Based on the FanDuel odds.
Plus 1,800, I have Trevor Lawrence. Last year, he had 25 touchdowns. In 2021, he had 12 touchdowns. His interceptions also went down. His passer rating went up. He has a ton of weapons in Jacksonville, and that's a team that is building and building just as his career is building and building. I think he's going to lead the league in passing touchdowns this year.
All right. That's a good pick. That's going to be my pick. I want to go Lamar Jackson again, but I'm not going to. And I'm going to go with a pick that I really never thought I'd be making this pick. But I'm going to make this pick.
Okay.
At plus 1,400.
Who are we going with? Let me see here. Don't do it.
RELAX.
Don't do it. Why are you doing it?
Relax.
Wow.
Aaron Rodgers.
You guys can have the same picks. It's fine.
No, I don't. That's boring, Anthony. Nobody wants that crap. Stop it.
Yeah, but to go with Aaron Rodgers, guy that we just dislike so much.
We dislike or you dislike?
Oh, I felt
I just
like
the hell out of him, but this is money, okay? This is money, I'm betting. So I thought about Joe Burrow, but then I thought he's going to get murdered again in the pocket because that offensive line's still not that great. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at the other quarterbacks. A lot of the other quarterbacks have a run dynamic to them. Mahomes can run, Allen can run, Tua can run, Dak can run. All these guys can run the ball. Aaron Rodgers can't. So he's forced to throw the damn thing. Right? Mm-hmm. So that was my process of elimination is who the hell's going to be throwing the ball more often than not in like a red zone situation? It's going to be Aaron Rodgers. He's my pick.
Right,
deal with it, Anthony.
All right. I'll deal with it. I am going to take Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had 35 touchdowns last year. He was second to Patrick Mahomes, who had 41. Joe Burrow is plus 600 at FanDuel to lead the league in passing touchdowns. I think that Cincinnati defense is going to be worse than it has been over his last couple of years. They lost a lot of talent in free agency this year. So I think that Joe Burrow is going to be playing in more shootouts. That team, if they start to fall behind, putting the ball in the air with those weapons, I think that's going to be his best avenue. Jamie, you're right. The Bengals offensive line, not their best attribute, but I think they're kind of closer to average than bad. So I'm going to take Joe Burrow based on the circumstances.
Really hoping.
What am I hoping for?
Hoping that offensive line doesn't look like Swiss cheese out there.
I think it'll be okay.
All right.
Not great, but it would be okay. All right, rushing touchdowns. Andrew Marsh, rushing touchdowns based on the odds.
I'm going with the guy that came in second last year. He was tied with Hurts and Derrick Henry. Austin Eckler. He is my guy to lead the league in touchdowns this year at plus 1,400.
All right. There's a lot of selections here. I'm going to go with a guy that's plus 1,600.
Okay.
And this guy is someone that this team's going to rely heavily upon because they don't have a quarterback and don't really have anything else going for them. But they can run the ball.
Top 5 offensive line in terms of rushing the ball?
And they will run the ball.
A lot.
Mm-hmm. And they've already declared it this guy's era.
Mm-hmm.
Bijan Robinson.
Attaboy. Wow. Nice job, Jamie.
Plus 1,600.
You totally redeemed yourself from that Aaron Rodgers pick, my friend.
It's not because I think they're going to be any good. He's just going to be the only thing they have.
I didn't hear the other part. I just heard that you believe in Bijan Robinson and the Atlanta Falcons. So, nice work, Jamie. I'm going to go with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb had 12 rushing touchdowns last year. I think they're going to be a better offense this year. Deshaun Watson, now that he's got a full training camp. This is his second training camp, but he's going to have a full season this year. Knocked off the rust a little bit last year. I think the offense is going to be better overall. Kevin Stefanski does a pretty decent job with that offense. I think that Nick Chubb, especially with Kareem Hunt no longer there, I think Nick Chubb's going to get plenty of rushing touchdowns this season. And the Jamal Williams thing I thought was a bit of a fluke last year. I think you're going to see one of those top names, whether it's Derrick Henry or Austin Eckler or your guy, Bijan Robinson. I'm going to say your guy, Jamie. I think you're going to see one of those names. Nick Chubb's going to be right in that mix, too. All right, last one. Matt, most receiving yards, Marsh. Are you going to go chalk here?
I have to go chalk. He had 184 targets last year. That was 14 more than the guy who came in second, and Tyreek Hill also had 99 more receiving yards than Tyreek Hill. Easy answer for me, Justin Jefferson at plus 400. If I'm going to hit one of these, I'll at least try and hit the one that's plus 400, the easy one.
Okay.
Wow.
Which means it probably won't happen.
Wow. So many great selections looking at this list. A.J. Brown is a guy I'm looking at right now, too. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown. That's where I'm headed. Plus 1,800, A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown?
Yeah.
I thought about going Jamar Chase because I took Joe Burrow to have the most passing yards or the most passing touchdowns, but the ball's going to be spread around in that offense. They got 3 wide receivers that are capable and a couple of tight ends too. But I'm going to go Cooper Kupp. I'm going to go Cooper Kupp because he's it for the Rams. He's going to get peppered a lot if he stays healthy. Matthew Stafford stays healthy.
Yeah.
That offense is going to be behind a lot. We know that Sean McVay does a great job with his play calling. Cue up the Sean McVay. But I think Cooper Kupp is going to have another monstrous year. It's not going to be a winning year at all, but I think Cooper Kupp is going to be absolutely peppered now. I mean, you talk about like Van Jefferson, and that's about it for the Rams. I think they're going to be a terrible team this year. All right. There you go. Fun with odds here on 101 ESPN. I mentioned this before. We'd mentioned Lisa, longtime listener, frequent mic drop, frequent on the text line. One thing that she has constantly said about the Cardinals, she may have just been proven right based on one statistic. We'll tell you what that is next on 101 ESPN.
All right, 101 ESPN listeners, I'm going to ask you a serious question. What's the name of your insurance agent? I bet you don't know. Probably know the company, but you don't know the person that you deal with. Why is that? Because it's somebody different every single time. You call 1-800-NUMBERS, and you get these people who are trying to help you, and it's great. But if there's more to it, or there's more questions, there's follow-up stuff, you're always having to repeat yourself to somebody different all the time. We'll change that. Go with Tracy Bibb and the Bibb Agency. They're going to help you save money on your car or your home insurance. And Tracy's amazing. The customer care that comes across from the Bibb Agency is fantastic. I've said this before. My daughter got in a fender bender and, needed help, needed advice. Right there on the spot, picked up the phone. She called the Bibb Agency, and they walked her through everything. And she got through it, no problems at all. But that's because the Bibb Agency was there for her. And she's going to be there for you and your children or anybody in your family. So please pick up the phone. Call Tracy for a non-committal quote today at 314-328-4260. That's 314-328-4260. It's no fib. You're in good hands with Tracy Bibb.
Does anybody watch this team not hitting the clutch? Oh, we need pitching. Who's hitting in the clutch? A year older with Goldschmidt? It's going to work even better? Is anybody not watching what's happening with Waino? OMG. It's almost insulting. You're damn right they need pitching. They need a culture change. They need a culture change. This is the St. Louis Cardinals. They don't pitch well. They don't hit with runners in scoring position. They play sloppy defense. And every team has injuries. Boo frickin' who? And it's so nice that nobody's being held accountable. Isn't it so, Boy Scout? All right, thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. Lisa bringing the absolute heat, as usual.
Wow, she's fired up.
She's not wrong.
Oh, she's not wrong
She's
at
not
all.
wrong in anything she's saying.
Can I mention something real quick before we get into this? I sent this to you, Marshy. I instant messaged you or whatever it is on the X Twitter verse thingy. whatever. The Cardinals, it says, have 0 clutch hitters. And it's measurable. Tops in all of MLB with 922 men left on base. This despite being 9th in Major League Baseball in batting average. They freeze, all of them. That's what it says. So yesterday, I believe we said, how many guys have they left on base? Yeah. 922.
Wow.
If you add 922 runs to this team, but seriously, so Lisa's 100% right.
So that was from Frank Murtaugh, who is the managing editor at Memphis Magazine, sports writer at Memphis Flyer. Bernie Michaelis, our friend Bernie Michaelis, also tweeted out right under that, and also 5th in Major League Baseball on base percentage. So the numbers bear it out. The Cardinals are getting on base at a consistent clip this season. What they're not doing is getting those runners in. We've talked to guys like Matt Holliday, who's actually had to stand in the box and try to drive runners in those quote-unquote clutch positions. And he says, there are times where you try to simplify things, you try to simplify your approach, you try to think the other way or think up the middle, or maybe try to just put the ball in play, or if there's a runner on third, less than 2 outs, just try to get the ball in the air. There's certain things you can think, but delivering it's a different story. And I don't know if you can look at this statistic and say, this guy does it all the time, because you got 162 games. Do you have certain clutch hitters? I think you have certain clutch hitters in certain periods of the season. I think there are clutch hitters in the postseason. I mean, you think of guys like David Eckstein or Cody Ross or some of these unlikely heroes in the postseason. They just caught fire. They got hot. So it just depends on what point in the season are you talking about. I mean, we can probably look up and down the Cardinals roster and pick out a couple of guys that were clutch in certain moments this year. They're few and far between compared to previous seasons. But Jamie, I think when you're talking about clutch and whether or not guys are delivering in the clutch, are you hot or not? And this Cardinals team hasn't gotten hot outside of maybe like one spurt in May all season. They just have not gotten it rolling. So these numbers are eye-popping, but I don't think there's anything fundamentally that you could do to change the roster outside of what you're doing overall, which is how can we get better in certain areas, pitching being the number one.
Yeah, pitching,
which obviously does not factor into what we're talking about.
No, pitching obviously that's at the top of the list for the Cardinals. But when it comes to clutch hitting, I mean, look, it's something that you can either have in you or you don't, and it's the moment. Is the moment too big? Is the pressure too much? And there are certain players that are wired for those moments. And it's not like they sit there and they go, I can't wait for a huge moment so I can go out there and show everybody what I've got. But when they get to that moment, they're unfazed. The heart rate barely goes up, if at all. And they get up there and they have a solid at-bat. From listening to a bunch of Major League Baseball hitters over the years, the one thing they say is, I don't go up there thinking home run.
Yeah.
I go up there thinking make hard contact. So even if it's an infield, a ground ball, it's a difficult play. So you're looking for your pitch. They talk about patience. They talk about finding your pitch and getting a really good swing on the ball. And then from there, who knows? I just don't know if we got that. The Cardinals guys seem like they're off balance. They feel like they're rushed. And then before you know it, it's a double play ball.
Yeah.
Or it's a foul ball up in the air up to the first baseline and the guy catches it.
They don't have that guy this year.
No, not this year.
There's no question. David Freese is a guy that comes to mind where it's like David Freese is one of the top power hitters in all of baseball. David Freese, they did studies on this. His heart rate actually slowed in those moments. I mean, David Ortiz was an absolute freak.
David Ortiz was an animal.
Big Papi was, yeah. So that's one guy where it consistently translated whenever Boston was in the postseason with him. But again, otherwise, it's like, who's hot at the moment? That's what baseball is to me. It is a game of streaks in the short term, and then it's a game of where are we at the end of the year with your counting numbers. You know, over the course of a year, 162 games, Paul Goldschmidt's going to be right around his career average. Nolan Arenado is going to be right around his career average. Wilson Contreras, remember everybody's like, oh, this guy, I don't know if it's worth it, blah, blah, blah. he's going to be right around his career averages when it comes to
Might
hitting.
even slightly above this year, believe it or not.
Certainly. So when it comes to what Lisa's talking about, clutch situations and all that, I really do. I think it comes down to the moments and who's hot, who's not, who's seeing the ball like a beach ball, who's thinking the pitchers are actually throwing grease BBs out there, can't hit it. I think it's situational. As much as in other words, Jamie, I don't think you can go into this offseason saying we need to find more clutch players.
See, I
don't think it works that way.
I disagree.
So name them. Well, I'll put you to it.
Name a clutch hit. Well, I'd have to look at who's available to go get, Anthony. Just put me on the spot.
You're gonna name top
I'm gonna name
guys
who perform.
Right.
Yeah.
Over the course of a season.
Yeah. I have a different direction when I go with this, though.
Okay.
Instead of just pissing and moaning back and forth, the two of us disagreeing over something, it's fine.
I didn't think we were pissing and moaning. I thought we were making great points.
Well, I didn't think it was great. But anyways.
Wait, you're taking this another direction?
Not really. Quick. It's not enough to carry.
Okay, all right.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
You saw my wheels.
I did. Oh, I saw them. Trust me. Whoa, what a look that was. Is it possible that the Cardinals have this guy on the bench, though? And when I say that, it's you get these bases loaded, or runners in scoring position, and they have so many players and they have such flexibility in their roster. Like, is it an Alec Burleson who's just sitting there at no heart rate at all? And you're like, I know it's Lars Nootbaar up to bat right now, or Tommy Edman, but Alec Burleson's my flatliner, pinch hit. Like, do the Cardinals have to start doing that kind of thing? And then shuffle the deck. You got 27 players that you can play anywhere on the diamond. That's an exaggeration, but I'm just saying, is it possible that the guy's on your bench? So then you can go to this guy who consistently just gets the bat on the ball, really, like, hits the ball hard in all situations. Like a Jordan Walker almost is kind of that guy. You're guaranteed that when he hits the ball hard. So his potential of doing damage. I don't know. It's a thought I had in my head for a while now of never mind, because when the batting order comes up, you can't pick who's going to be clutch at that moment. It's whoever's up.
Situation.
So if it's somebody who's up and you're like, you know what, his numbers aren't that great with runners in scoring position, but I got a guy over here who's chewing bubble gum right now, but he doesn't care about the moment. Put him up there.
You know, there is something. I had a thought on this that it's not necessarily about clutch, but something you just said kind of sparked me again. I'm going to throw something at you guys next about the Cardinals in 2024 here on 101 ESPN.
I like it.
Started too soon there, Jamie. It's Fast Lane on 101 to ESPN.
You went too quick?
Yeah, I went too quick. Sorry.
Wow.
It happens.
That's embarrassing.
Happens to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time, but not usually someone who's as experienced as you are.
Sometimes,
Usually happens to people it's their first time or
if it's been a while.
Yeah.
If I haven't done that
You're
in a
right.
while.
Yeah,
You're
I mean, you just
if
got
it's been
back.
an extended period of time, it can happen that way.
So I had, like Marsh was saying, I hadn't been here in a while, so
we're going to try and ease you in.
Yeah. 304, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. So we were just having this conversation about clutch and the Cardinals and the runners in scoring position and the numbers aren't good and all that. And Jamie, you had mentioned maybe there is somebody that is on the Cardinals bench that could kind of occupy that role, somebody that's like heart rate goes down. This is the guy that I know is consistently going to hit the ball hard in those moments. It got me thinking about, and I'm going to take this in a slightly different direction, but it got me thinking about what I want to see more of in 2024, which is stop trying to get the best 13 players, and let's just talk about the offense first. Stop trying to get the best 13 players where you can mix and match and this and that, and he can play outfield and he can only hit righties and lefties. And get your best 8. Who's your best 8? And then have a bench that is versatile. But I'm so tired of watching this team specifically play the matchups. I don't think you do it well. I think you try to do it. I think you do it, but I'm tired of a roster that is multiple, flexible. I would love to see these guys go, here's my best 8. And these dudes are going to play. So maybe when you get in the moment where bases are loaded or you got runners at second and third and less than 2 outs, you get the reps. You get the reps defensively. You get the reps You get the reps situationally. What's your best 8? You're not the Rays. You're not the Giants. The Giants got 13 no-name guys. They brought up Yohan Camargo. I didn't know he was still in baseball.
Oh, that guy's good. That guy's good, Anthony.
Remember the old Phillies or Mets third baseman or whatever? Yeah. They brought him up yesterday. I'm like, what?
Underrated.
They can do that, Jamie, because like you mentioned yesterday, Paul DeYoung, they just look for guys that you can do one thing. You can do one thing well. Mm-hmm. Go get them. Left-handers pitching on a Tuesday, you're hitting 800. Go.
You're our guy.
And it works for them. Now they've hit
I think that's the problem, though, Anthony, is I think
the Cardinals aren't that, Jamie.
I know, but they're trying to be that.
I want them to stop. I don't blame you. Who's your top 8?
They're not going to stop.
Who's your top 8 that you know you can win with?
You name them. Name your top 8.
Okay, I wasn't prepared to name my top 8 right now.
Well, you called me out last segment. I'm expecting an answer.
All right, fine.
Well, why don't let me take this down a different path here to say.
I want the best 8 damn players.
I was going to name my 8.
I know, I'm just messing.
Arenado third. Contreras is your catcher.
Okay.
Wynn is your shortstop. Gorman is your second baseman. Goldschmidt is your first baseman, although you know how I feel about...
You want to trade him, so he's good as gone. You can't use him.
Okay, Walker's at first, after I traded Goldie for pitching.
Okay.
Newt is one of my outfielders.
Okay.
Did I really just trade Goldie or not? Because I
don't have to.
Okay, I want to play the game right.
But then I don't.
They're not trading.
But if you're not trading him, I don't want to hear you say it again. Okay, that's it. It dies today.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because if you're building a roster for next year, you can't kind of sort of have them. Either you're trading them or you're not.
All right. Okay.
So what's it going to be?
Trading him for pitching.
Okay. So Goldie's gone.
Well, why don't we do
Walker's
what they're actually going to do? They're not going to trade.
Marshy, we don't care about what they're going to do because we know it's going to be vanilla. We like our idea.
Well, what I'm saying, like, let's play the game, what we know the roster will most likely look like. You know what I'm saying?
I want Anthony's best 8.
All right,
can you let him finish? Usually he finishes first, but today you don't even let him finish.
Well, I mean, he was quick.
He's not that quick. He's slowing down now.
Slowing down now. I'm finding my rhythm.
Yeah, he's getting a little tuckered out here.
I'm thinking baseball now.
There you go. A little tired.
I'm thinking baseball.
Cardio's
Jamie.
kicking in.
I'm glad you got something else on your mind.
Yeah,
baseball.
Exactly. All right, so I'm trading Goldie for pitching.
Okay, so you got
in
Walker
the offseason. So Walker's
base.
at first. Gorman's at second. Wynn is at short. Arenado is third, and then I got Newt.
Yep.
Donovan.
Okay.
And Edman.
Okay.
And then I need a DH.
Man, that team stinks.
All right, I'm not trading Goldie. I'm keeping Goldie. And I got Walker as my DH. There you have it.
Okay. So there's a reason I asked you for this.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason I asked you for this is because that's exactly what we're looking at anyways.
We're not.
We are. Next year, that's what your best 8 and 9 are next year.
Have you seen Tyler O'Neill get jammed into this lineup constantly? We don't have that.
He won't be here. I hope.
You know he's going to be here.
He won't.
He won't have any trade value, so Mo's not going to deal with him.
They're not going to pay him $9 million for 50%.
You've got O'Neill still on this roster. You've got the mixing and matching of, Contreras goes to DH at times. Walker's going to be in the outfield because they want him to play in the outfield. Mm-hmm. Gorman, they don't like against left-handers. This is not what we see.
They played him more recently against lefties.
I'm talking about an Atlanta Braves static 8.
Okay, I understand that, but you're not going to get that right now. You're not. You don't have it.
I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about for 2024.
I am too. You're not going to have it.
Why?
How are you going to? Let me ask you this. In all sincerity,
yeah.
How are you going to acquire pitching and then acquire bats?
Well, that's why I was halfway joking about Goldie. Okay, but to your question, I'm trading Tommy Edman. In a package.
What are you getting for Tommy?
Pitching.
Okay.
Great. It might be Paul Blackburn. It might not be,
So you eliminate Edman.
Logan Gilbert.
Who are you replacing him with?
Carlson. And Carlson's my everyday center fielder. Oh, geez. He's 24. You haven't seen him.
Worse. It just got worse.
I added pitching.
Yeah, but the bats. I told you you got to solve both problems.
Don't we agree?
You want your best 8 or best 9 in the batter's box, but you're eliminating a guy that's better than the guy you just put in.
Because I need pitching, though.
I know. The question is, how do you solve both problems?
Carlson, we don't know what he is. There's a lot of people that feel like we know what he is after 1,000 at-bats. But he hasn't consistently gotten the reps.
Because he's injured.
Fair. And if he's banged up again, then I got an issue. But I want a static 8. I want more defense. I've improved my if Wynn is the real deal, my infield has improved. Gorman's going to get more reps at second base instead of being yo-yoed in and out. Donovan will have a set position.
Which one?
Left.
Okay.
Newt is an excellent right fielder, and Dylan Carlson can handle center. And Walker's my DH. I'm tired of watching that.
You eliminated Tommy Edman for pitching. Great. I like the move. But you replaced him with a guy who's not as good, who could potentially be better, but he's not right now.
Are you?
I think Dylan Carlson might fetch you the same pitcher in that trade.
I don't.
I'd rather see Richie Palacios play center field over Dylan Carlson at this point.
You're loving the small sample size.
He likes the
I'm
glasses.
a big sample size kind of guy.
If Carlson comes back from being injured and he actually plays and he does what Palacios does, you'll be telling me, I want Carlson next week or next year.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
My defense has improved. I got pitching. I had to use something.
Not better than Edman.
But he's not a dramatic fall off.
But he didn't improve.
I'm not putting Walker in center.
But you didn't improve.
I improved.
That's my point.
Okay, but center. Okay, we're talking about one position, Jamie.
Right, but go down the line.
Okay, let's go down the line.
So go down the line. So if you put Carlson in, where are your other changes then to this roster to make it better?
Win.
I'll give you that. I like Win.
Gorman every day.
Okay. But defensively,
Walker is not playing the field. He'll play first base for me when Goldie's no longer here in a year or 2 years. Walker can go to first. For now, he's my DH.
Okay.
So Walker's been, unfortunately, and I realize he's playing out of position and he's learning and all that. I get that. Walker's not an outfielder right now.
No.
And we're trying to win games for next year. So Walker's my DH. My outfield of whether it's Donovan, Edman, and Newt, or Donovan, Carlson, and Newt, I like my outfield defense.
Okay.
This is where I'm at.
But how did you improve your offense at all?
I don't think the offense is as big of a problem as what we're making it out to be.
I wouldn't disagree with that, to be honest. I wouldn't.
And I'm hoping that without doing the yo-yo thing and the matchups constantly, that more reps equal better production overall.
So if this is your group, how are you getting pitching?
I have to trade.
Because why the hell would I want anybody else but someone who's in this group?
I have to trade Edman.
Okay.
And I'm more willing to give up Edman, who's older than Donovan.
Are you getting enough for Edman? Is what I'm asking.
I have to include prospects.
Okay.
In
but
that
high
deal.
end. Like you're going to have to give.
Yes.
You know as well as I do, it's going to have to hurt.
Yes.
To acquire what you need.
Correct.
So that was ultimately my question is how do you put your best players on here but then still get the pitching? You can't.
I may have to give up Edman and one of these top-end pitchers, whether it's a McGreevy or I'm not going to give up Tinkens. But
no,
McGreevy, I just acquired a bunch of prospects at the deadline. I'll put a package together that includes Edman as the centerpiece, but with a young prospect as well to try to get some pitching. And then free agency, obviously.
I don't disagree. I just get concerned. I get concerned that the Cardinals are going to end up having to rob Peter to pay Paul, and they'll go get the pitching, subtract a guy or two from this lineup, and now you're trying to fill a hole, like you're trying to fill an outfield spot. Let's just say, hypothetically, now Alec Burleson's your starting left fielder. I like Burley. He's not my starting left fielder. He's a bench bat. But you have to put him in there or he becomes that because you had to get rid of player X, Y, or Z to acquire the pitching.
Well,
sometimes your roster, your overall team gets better in one area, but overall the team gets worse.
Sure, but I'm in a hell of my own making because of the pitching.
Totally understand.
So I got to do something, and that's what I would do. Now, if I can get 3 starters in free agency and hold on to Edman, then Edman would be my starting center fielder next year. And I understand. I get the jokes. I've made them too. Why would a Gold Glove second baseman be playing center field?
He's a Gold Glover no matter where he is on the field.
First of all, he can handle it. Second of all, I want Gorman in the lineup every day.
Yeah.
And then my bench would consist of the guys that I did not mention. Carlson, Burleson. I'm not doing Richie Palacios for.
Don't forget Taylor Motter.
Motter, the Mod Sauce is probably not on my roster next year.
You know what? The Mod Sauce I'm signing.
He was in the outfield last night. Do you see that?
Yeah.
No, hear me out. If I'm the Cardinals, I'm signing him to a minor league deal with the same premise. Hey, Mod Sauce, you came in and you were an absolute trooper for us last year. You played wherever the hell we told you to play.
Yeah.
You were a great guy in the clubhouse. You gave us a great effort. You're not going to be on the big league roster. We get injuries, though, or we need a guy that can play multiple positions because we have a couple of guys banged up. We'll bring you up. We know what you are. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
At least you got a guy that can plug the holes. Who cares? You don't have to go worry about signing a specific player. You got a guy that you can get in the minors for next to nothing.
Well, I think that same principle applies, Jamie, with the idea of like if Donovan gets you more than Edman, you just traded for two Donovans at the deadline this year.
Those guys are,
and they're hitting
unbelievable.
Those guys are unbelievable. That Sagasi, is that his name?
Sagasi.
That guy's a machine.
So you just acquired 2 Tommy Edman / Donovans.
Actually, honestly, they're playing really well right now to where they could be trade pieces in the offseason.
Or you trade the 2 guys that they're actually going to get you big league pitching, and then you got young, cost-controlled players that are coming up.
That doesn't make your team better. Like, I look at this roster, this team is
But you're forgetting about
so young.
You're forgetting about the pitching aspect, though.
No, I get it. I understand. I look at this team and the offense, well, the offense is good. The offense, to me, this team is not scary at all. Like, even next year, the best 8 that we just kind of went through and talked about, that team isn't winning a World Series. Well, hell no, they're not winning. No, there's no way.
This is a good offense. What I'm trying to eliminate, the bigger thing here is,
Are they a good offense, though?
Yeah.
How come they can't? How come they're in the bottom of the league in producing runs?
In my, they're not
Runners in scoring position.
Well, runners in scoring position,
left on
yes,
base, running,
but runners. I mean, scoring runs.
overall
This was
offense.
the worst season. I saw a stat last night on Bally Sports. It was like one of the worst seasons they've ever had with bases loaded. They scored like 60 runs.
Let's not cherry pick though.
No, I know. It's a straw man argument.
Well, it's
No,
not
it's
even.
not.
You're right. Okay, you're absolutely right in that particular situation. Yes, but overall, their offense is better. To a man, their offense overall has been better.
I think you're what I'm saying. I think you're cherry picking. You're right, Jamie's. You're right. You're picking out a statistic that has not gone well.
But here's the thing: is their offense good because they can win 9-2 on a Thursday afternoon when they've lost three? They've already lost 3 games in a 4-game series.
Now you're going. Now
you don't understand what I'm saying?
I do. I totally understand. But now we're getting into what I was talking about before with the clutch. I know it's hard to measure. Yeah, I can't go into the offseason and say who's going to be the guy, pick out a player who's going to consistently come through with runners in scoring position in games that matter.
But that's I know it's hard to measure, but that is where games really end up counting.
You're right.
This team can't do that.
You're right, but how do we measure that? How can I improve in that area?
It's just the eyeball test, and you just kind of have to have that feel if you're the front office.
Sure. By the way, the Cardinals, one of the statistics that I use consistently is WRC plus. How good are you at generating runs? They're 5th at 111. They're 11 percentage points higher than average. The average team is 100. The Cardinals are 111. I don't think offensively is the problem. What I'm trying to eliminate or maybe produce is more of those clutch hitters, knowing that they're going to get consistent at bats. That's my philosophy now. With Carlson, with Arenado and Goldie and Contreras hitting you don't have 13 guys that you can mix and match with, in my opinion. And I think they're doing that too much this year. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, Anthony Stalter. Let's see here. Why don't we get into, I want to do a quick look at the NFC West. Let's do that next year on 101 ESPN. So Marsh kind of timed it out here for us to do a look at each division in the NFL leading up to the opening night between the Chiefs and the Lions. Today, we're going to talk about the NFC West with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh and Anthony Stalter. So we'll just kind of keep this in a prediction format here. For me, guys, this is the 49ers division to lose. I know that there's...
NFC West?
Yeah. I know there's a lot of questions about Brock Purdy and you know, who is he and whether or not he can do what he did a year ago. To me, this is more about Kyle Shanahan, less about Brock Purdy. I think Kyle Shanahan, if he's got a quarterback that he knows can get the ball out on time, in rhythm, in that offense, he's going to be fine. He made Matt Ryan into an MVP candidate and a potential Super Bowl winner. He worked well with guys like Kirk Cousins. He worked well with guys like Jimmy Garoppolo. Brock Purdy steps in last year, and he had a lot of similar traits to the quarterbacks I mentioned before. Footwork, arm, in sync, on time, accurate, understands the offense, and can process information post-snap. Kyle Shanahan does that, you know, for his quarterbacks better than anybody. Trey Lance, the feet and the arm don't match up. And I think that's one of the reasons why Trey Lance is now a third string quarterback, and he's likely out of his way out to San Francisco as they named Sam Darnold the top guy. Otherwise, this offense is explosive. They can run the ball consistently. The defense, they got one of the best front sevens in football. You know, the secondary might be a weakness this year, but I don't think it's going to be a weakness that holds them back. For me, it's the 49ers winning this division all day long.
Yeah.
What about for you?
No, 100%. 49ers for me, all day long.
Marsh, you seem to be a Seahawk guy.
Are we doing predictions right now?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I had the Seahawks winning.
Why?
I don't know what Brock Purdy, if he's going to be what he is or what he was at the end of last year. You know, yeah, he played what? Was it 4 or 5 years at Iowa State? Not a high draft pick. Not saying that matters or anything, but he is coming off of a pretty big injury. So I want to see how he does in the regular season. Can CMC stay healthy? Can sweet cheese. Can Deebo Samuel stay healthy?
Will probably stay healthy.
Dabo will be fine, I think, at Clemson on the sidelines.
Can Deebo stay healthy? You know, that's a big thing. They have a lot of skill position players that never play a full season. So if we're looking at track record, that's a reason why I can't really trust them all that much. And then I like what Seattle has and what they're building. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
I think the Seahawks are second place. I don't think they make the playoffs, though, this year. I think the 49ers are the only team in this division that makes the playoffs.
Even with as bad as the NFC South is going to be?
Even as bad as the NFC is overall. I don't love the Seahawks offensive line. I don't love their front seven. I think their secondary is good. But we talk about Geno Smith. You know, Geno Smith wound up being a comeback player of the year last year and wound up being a great fit for Pete Carroll's offensive line. We're still only talking about 1 year. I don't know if Geno Smith can accomplish what he did last year. Plus, as the season wore on, he got less effective and more turnover prone in that offense. I'm not saying he didn't deserve the deal, and I think they're going to be a good team. They're well coached, but I got them finishing second, but only because I hate the other teams a lot more in that division. I don't think they're a playoff team. Do you?
I think the Seahawks are a playoff team.
So you got them in a wild card.
I do have them in a wild card spot. The conference is just not strong overall. You've got some of the teams that are leading the pack, clear leaders of the pack, but then I think when it comes down to a wild card team, I think they're right there in the mix.
Now, Marsh, do you have the 49ers? Since you have the Seahawks winning the division, you got the 49ers at least making the playoffs?
Yeah, I do. I have them as a wild card team. Not sure which I have not looked at where I want them to end up, but they're definitely making the playoffs.
All right. I think the Rams by default, just because the Cardinals are going to be so bad this year. The Cardinals have one of the worst rosters in all of football. I think they're going to be a clear dead last place team in the NFC West. The Rams, who knows if Matthew Stafford can stay healthy?
Yeah, there was a rumor that Somebody asked about Matthew Stafford last year in a trade, and the Rams said no. I'm trying to remember what team it was. I think BK had mentioned that somebody out there had offered a trade for Matthew Stafford, and the Rams said no, we're not trading him.
Either way, I don't know if he can set. They got Stafford, they got Aaron Donald, and they got Cooper Kupp. That's it.
It was the Buccaneers.
Was the Buccaneers asked for him?
Buccaneers asked for Matthew Stafford. They said nope.
Well, good luck with that. They got one of the worst offensive lines in football. They got one of the worst secondaries in football. They have outside of Aaron Donald, one of the worst front sevens in football. I think that this is one of the worst teams in the league.
Good news is, though, they got a lot of draft picks coming up where they can get talent.
That's the thing, Jamie.
Yeah.
They don't.
Oh.
So, Marsh.
Yeah. Third place.
Yeah, I got the 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals. That's what I got.
I mean, the Cardinals are coming in last. They're going to be the worst team in football this year. So it's not even. Jamie said they were smoking mirrors a few years ago.
I called it.
You did.
I called it.
There's no mirror. There's just smoke and fire.
Is that the Super Bowl year?
And
it doesn't matter. I called it. There's no timeline on it.
This team will be absolutely terrible.
All right, there you go. That's why we wanted to do the NFC West. We could get that one over with pretty quickly. It's Fastlane on 101 at ESPN. Cardinals still playing right now. They had a rain delay, but as soon as that game's over with, we'll kind of pick and choose some of the highlights and lowlights from this game. But how should Oli Marmol be evaluated after 2 seasons? I've seen a lot of Cardinals fans saying, well, could he be fired? How do you evaluate him after 2 seasons, not just this year? Let's get into that next on 101 ESPN.
Are you looking for brand new windows? Window World is your one-stop shop. Man, they have got a quality product over there. They've got a double-strength glass that just gives you the quality you don't see ordinarily in replacement windows. We've all seen those replacement windows that you put them in, they're thin, they crack, the heat leaks in, the cold leaks in, and all you're doing is paying for the inefficiencies of the window. Stop it. Call Window World and get their unbelievable window put in, and their customer service is fantastic as well. They're ranked number 1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine, and all you got to do is call them. Call them, and you can also get 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. So without any delay, give them a call at 314-993-1800. Again, that's 314-993-1800, or you can look them up at windowworld.com.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. After losing yesterday to the Pirates 6-3, the Cardinals are currently leading the Pirates 5-3 in the bottom of the seventh inning. They were in a weather delay, but have since resumed. The Pirates do have one runner on second base, down 2 with 1 out in the bottom of the seventh inning. We'll keep you updated on that one throughout the remainder of the day. If you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the 101 mobile app. You can find the full show there. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Continuing throughout the rest of the day, we have interviews with Jeremy Rutherford and Jason Isringhausen, so make sure you stay tuned for that. How should Oli Marmol be evaluated after 2 seasons? We are going to talk about that next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
So I think a group of Cardinals fans are wanting to see Oli Marmol let go. And one of the main arguments that I've seen used over and over again, which is kind of irrefutable to a point, is that this has been the worst Cardinal season, in how many decades?
Since 1998, and before that, 1908, I believe.
Okay, so there you go. So it has been quite a while since the Cardinals have been this bad. So why would Oli Marmol keep his job when Mike Schultz did not keep his job following the playoff appearance, and Mike Matheny was let go with, I think like 500 record at the time? I would answer it this way, because Mike Matheny was here for a while, not just 2 seasons, and Mike Schultz was let go because there was friction.
Philosophical difference.
Yeah. Friction, not only with the front office, but friction among, from what we have been told, the coaching staff. So they didn't just decide to let go of a guy. Don't forget, Mike Schultz was in this organization. They promoted him. They promoted from within.
Yeah, very much like Oli.
Yes. The game plan wasn't, let's let go. Hey, Mike Schultz, you got us to the postseason. That's fantastic. See ya. That wasn't the game. There had to be something that was going on behind the scenes. And that was, again, not only a clash with maybe the front office, but a clash philosophical with some of the coaching staff. Now, should they have gotten rid of him? That's a separate conversation. But there was a reason outside of just, hey, he made the playoffs, they let him go. But when it comes to Oli, how do you guys think that he should be judged after 2 seasons? Not just this season, but after 2 seasons.
Well, first season, you can't really look at it negatively.
Can you take it away? Because I feel like some people are kind of taking it away, like, well, this season's been so terrible that last year kind of didn't count because Pujols saved you.
Yeah, but that's the point.
Which I think is unfair.
But that's the point of playing guys, right? Your players are supposed to save you. Doesn't matter if it's Pujols, Arenado, Goldie, O'Neill, whoever is, pick your horse.
Yeah.
Your players are in the lineup because they're supposed to win games for you. They're supposed to save your job, bottom line, or help you keep your job. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can erase last year. I don't think you can. I think that, one, they keep records of this stuff, so it's relevant. And, look, Oli Marmol this year was given an unsatisfactory roster, mostly in the pitching department.
Yes.
Like, I just want to know what Cardinals fans think Oli could have done differently when he's given a roster that has, 6 potential starters, but really only 3. Mm-hmm. And then he's got to patch the holes with Scotch tape with whatever pitcher he can find. And Adam Wainwright not having a great season. I don't know if anybody saw it coming quite like this, but that's huge. Because Waino's supposed to be your guy every 5 days. Give him the ball. It's fine. Mm-hmm. We'll get us through. You'll be fine. He's an innings eater. He's not anymore. Steven Matz was terrible to start the season. Refound his form. Was great. Now he's hurt again. Miles Michaelis was terrible to start the season. Your bullpen's been terrible because they've been overplayed, overtaxed. Is that Ollie's fault? Maybe some of it. Maybe he's pulling guys out too early. Maybe he's told to. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have to go into next season. Maybe you say it to Ollie. Listen, man, you're 1-1 right now. You had first season, you got us to the postseason. Got us in, nothing else, but you got us in. Second season, we'll take the blame. We didn't have enough horses for you to go out there and win, but this is your third season. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to show us what you can do with the roster we've provided. And Ollie, at the same time, is going to have to say, well, you got to provide me with a roster that I can play.
Yeah.
I think Mike Schultz said that and was fired.
Well,
philosophical differences.
Well, I think there's a lot more.
I think there's more to it, but yeah.
But yeah,
the other name that we hear a lot, of course, is Skip Schumacher. A lot of it's like, hey, you kept the wrong guy. Maybe they did, but they weren't going to fire Oli coming off of the season that they had last year. Skip left because he wanted to be a big league manager. I don't think that Skip necessarily thought it was going to be in Miami, but an opportunity came up. The Marlins were interested, and down he went. And he's had, the Marlins are having an unexpectedly good season. The Marlins have also given up, 559 runs compared to the Cardinals' 638. The Marlins have a better pitching staff. They have a better pitching staff. They have a better bullpen. They're better overall when it comes to run suppression. The Cardinals allowing this year 638 runs tells you everything you need to know about this season. We can get into the weeds about this player not doing this or, have our fun when we're talking about what we want to see next year. But that is the biggest issue with this team. Your pitching wasn't good enough. Your defense wasn't good enough. I would love to know. I don't know if we'll know. I don't know if we'll ever find out, but I would love to know how much Oli is able to control the defense. He's given the players on his roster. He's not going to sit Jordan Walker, who's 21 years old, who's ready to be in the big leagues. Jordan Walker, unfortunately, is having a rough year defensively. What else are you going to do with him? You could have had him DH, but now you got this catcher who's going to DH twice a week. Nolan Gorman. This is where I get back to. I would love to see Oli have a stagnant lot, more of a stagnant lineup next year.
Well, and one comment we see a lot is our problem with Oli is he plays the numbers and the matchups too much. Is that an Oli problem, or is that
a Cardinals problem?
Or is that an organizational problem?
It's an organization. I wouldn't even say it's a problem. It's an organizational philosophy.
Like it's an advantage when you're winning, and it's a problem when you're losing.
True.
It's just the way it is. It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
But I look at it as not that Oli is a puppet by any means, because from what we know of Oli, he's fiery. He has pushback in him. But the bottom line is he takes his orders from somebody that's in a higher position. And if that is Michael Gersh or John Mozeliak or whatever they've got there that says, hey, listen, when a lefty's on the bump, we don't like the matchups with this guy, this guy, this guy. So we got to fill it up with this guy, this guy, this guy. Ollie's sitting there going, okay, great.
And if he pushes back, maybe puts a different guy in, doesn't work out, then that's on him.
The other issue too, you could let him go, but are you just going to get the next version of Oli coming up?
That's exactly what you're getting.
Well, the whole league is that now.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't fire back at me now with, the old guys. Tony La Russa failed miserably in Chicago with the White Sox, and Buck Showalter's doing terrible with the New York Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Bruce Bochy is the one you can push back. Have you seen his lineup?
And Dusty Baker, too, yeah.
Have you seen their lineups?
Right.
Star player after star player after star player in their lineups. Now, they're also very smart baseball men. I'm not taking anything away from those two guys. But the argument of quit hiring numbers guys. Gabe Kapler is one of the weirdest dudes in the world. And he was looked upon as like an absolute idiot when he first started out. What is this guy thinking? Now it's like, woof, he was kind of cutting edge.
Mm-hmm.
Look what he's been able to do with a bunch of nobodies in San Francisco. So you can't give me the old dog and get him in there and Joe Madden this and Joe Madden and Tony La Russa and Whitey Herzog. Okay, fine. Those guys were all young guys at one point too coming in the league, and they managed like the rest of the league did. The way the league was trending, they managed that way.
I think when you look at it from a perspective of, okay, Oli has never played in the majors. If we just want to use Oli since we're talking about him.
Neither did Scotty Bowman.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, some of these other managers, like, have played, so maybe they can relate a little bit more to the players. I'm not saying that that's the reason why this team is bad, but it's something that you could look at and say, hey, okay, maybe it's a situation where if the front office is sort of making the decisions through all these numbers and whatnot, it still comes down to fundamentals. And that is what this staff is in charge of, is the fundamentals of the game, right? You can play the lineup in the numbers and, well, this guy should hit here and this guy should pitch here. But still, these guys have to execute, and that starts from the fundamentals, and that is by the coaching staff. So maybe if we don't want people to... we don't want to fire Oli, but maybe we should look at the rest of the staff, because you did have 2 guys leave, and the team was better last year. You had Maddox left, and look what Texas is doing.
Did Tony La Russa play in the majors?
Who does Texas have?
In terms of what?
Who don't they have?
In their pitching staff.
Scherzer.
Well, they have the whole league on their
Montgomery.
staff now.
Yeah, Gray. It was DeGrom at one point. I mean, that to me, it's about players. It's about executing.
For sure.
I don't think that. I don't think that Oli. I don't think Oli makes. I don't think the manager. I don't want to go down this path again because I'll repeat myself again. But I don't think the manager makes as big of an impact as we think.
For sure. But I'm not saying that from making those decisions. I'm talking about the fundamentals. Jordan Montgomery, he was all right with the Cardinals this season. Now he's doing really well. Well, maybe he's a little bit more comfortable with Maddox as his pitching coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Max Scherzer wasn't all that great with New York.
He was, yeah. He got off to a bad start, but he was starting to pitch well again. I think
Nathan Eovaldi, like, he wasn't this out of this world guy. He's an all-star this year.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, like,
did you like Maddox last year?
I didn't have a problem with him. I know a lot of people didn't like him. I think they've switched their tune.
Right. So
I'm just saying, I'm just floating these different scenarios. I'm not saying this is one reason why their team is bad, blah, 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 but it's just something to think about.
All right. It's Fastlane on 101 at ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. We'll update you on the Cardinals and Pirates as they get deeper into this game. That's next on 101 ESPN. With Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. We got our guy Stewie on the line right now. And Stewie, I know one of the most important aspects of your job is communication. And there's a lot of different ways that we could talk about communication with your clients and with everything that you do. But what did you want to talk about specifically when it comes to communicating?
Well, Anthony, people buying a house refinance, this is the biggest investment you're going to make in your life. How are you going to go ahead and trust that investment with somebody that's in Michigan or somebody that's in California? Or you can have the experience I just had in calling a national company and getting somebody in the Philippines who doesn't even speak English or language that we understand. So you got to understand, this is the biggest investment. You got to have somebody available. We had a challenge last night, a closing. There was a problem with the seller. Buyer didn't know what to do. They scrambled. They rearranged the purchase price. There were concessions. They were closing 10 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock at night, they called me and said, help, can we get this done on time? Got into our computer system, got everything changed. They closed on time, funded on time. You can't get that kind of service, and you can't get that kind of watching with somebody that isn't here in St. Louis that you can trust. You got to go with the local people and people that are great and know what they're doing.
That's exactly it right there. people that you can trust, the customer service that you deserve, and people that get things done for you. And that's our guy, Stewie. And he's our guy. He needs to be your guy. And it's easy. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call him at 314-324-4440.
Again, 314-324-4440.
Or it's pretty easy. You can Google the bagel loan.
Thanks, Stewie.
Have a good one, guys.
NMLS number 226715.
A very quick update for the Cardinals and the Pirates with the game now in the bottom of the 8th. If you're wondering, hey, this game started at, I don't know, what, 11:30 or something like that? Why has it been this long? Well, it's because they had a rain delay in the middle of the game, lasted for over an hour. But the Cardinals right now clinging to a 5-3 lead. Zach Thompson, before he exited, he looked pretty good. The overall numbers for Zach Thompson: 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks. He had the slider working effectively. The bullpen thus far has been pretty good, although Palante did give up an earned run over his 1 1/3. Drew Verhagen got himself into and then out of trouble in his 2 1/3 inning of work, got 2 guys on and then wound up getting out of the jam, and Jojo Romero has thus far has pitched a perfect inning, and the Cardinals lead 5-3. The story has been Richie Palacios. He's 3 for 4 today. Came up with a huge double in the first inning when the Cardinals scored 3 runs, 2 off of his double. Goldschmidt also singled in that inning to make it 3-0. And then Arenado doubled to left to make it 5-0 in the top of the second. And since that point, the Pirates have kind of chipped away. They added a run in the third, 2 in the fifth, and then 3 in the sixth. And that's where, 1 in the third inning, another run in the fifth, and another run in the sixth. That's how they got to the 3 runs. Again, 5-3 right now. All right, we've got a returning Gauntlet guest that's coming up beat me yesterday in hockey, although some would say I beat myself by not knowing that Jaromir Jagr has not played 40 seasons in the NHL.
I will say this, Anthony, you beat yourself a lot. You do. You don't go with your gut instinct a lot of times, and you end up beating yourself. Yesterday was a prime example.
It's a coaching moment.
All right, how many times I'm going to tell you? At some point, it's like you're either unwilling or unable.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Just observation.
Thanks, Coach.
Do you think you're I'm big into like conspiracy theories.
I feel good.
Do you think your gut instinct is your like future self telling you that whatever you're about to go with is a bad idea?
Here we go. The ayahuasca just kicked in.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Well, Hard Knocks came out last night.
Sure. Yeah.
What did?
Hard Knocks.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that instincts are that thing that, when you got reps, when you're doing something over and over and over and over and over again, you get in that situation, that's when your instincts kick in because your mind has seen it before.
Situations that are like you've never done before. Like when someone's instincts kick in and they rescue people from like a burning building. Like they don't practice that.
That's fight. That's the old fight. What is it? Fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
That's just.
Oh, freeze. I didn't know that was a part of it.
It is.
I thought it was fight or flight.
Nope. Fight.
I do
flight,
like flights
or
though.
freeze.
Flights?
You like
the
them?
one you're on right now?
Seriously.
No, I was thinking more of like, variations of different drinks.
Oh, okay.
Flights.
Like a flight of bourbon.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
By the way, I have to say this. I just have to say this again. I've said this before, but the Rack House out near my house, Cottleville, they've got unbelievable bourbon selection. Go in there. They got a great little restaurant in there. The owner's a fantastic dude, but he always has something really cool for the flight. Like you walk in, you're like, hey, I'd like to buy it. And he's like, no, you got to buy the flight. So it's a great idea. He sit there and, Marsh, you got me thinking. Now you got me clock watching.
Great, Marsh.
here.
We just lost him for the next 2 hours.
Son of a.
Gauntlet next on 101 ESPN.
Anthony, got a question for you. When you're grilling, do you like using a Blackstone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who doesn't? Our guy Ron, the Wizard of Comfort's got you covered right now.
What?
Yeah, he's always looking to give you a fantastic deal, and right now he's got the Chill and Grill sale. What is that, you say, right? It's easy. You purchase a new HVA system, so just like you did from Swiss Air, and here's what you get. $1,200 rebate, extended parts and labor's warranty, and a Blackstone Pro Series 5-burner 28-inch propane griddle with range top.
What the heck?
He
comes out with this? Ron comes out with this after I bought the entire AC units?
I'm sure if you call him, he'll help you out.
Ron's great. He's great. Swiss Air is outstanding. They have great promotions going on all the time. But when it comes to Swiss Air, the one thing that they're going to do is they're going to set you up for success. Boy, how hot has it been in St. Louis over the last week or so? One thing, and my wife, Chris, and I were talking about this before, one thing that we don't have to worry about when it comes to going inside the house now is walking in, and it's just as hot inside as it is outside. That's because we went with Swiss Air. They completely changed out our HVAC system. We got a brand new furnace. We got a brand new AC. We needed it, but that might not be you. Maybe you're in line for a repair, a service call. When it comes to Swiss Air and Ron, the Wizard of Comfort, you can't go with a better company than Swiss Air. When it comes to benefits of their Magic Tune program, lower energy bills for you, improve the indoor air quality, lower your risk of an emergency repair, longer equipment lifespan, they set you up for success with Swiss Air.
Yeah, and all you got to do is give them a call at 636-500-2665. That's 636-500-COOL, or visit SwissAirSTL.com.
categories, one challenger. Can you master the gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
All right, after beating me yesterday, Mike returns today for round 2 of the Gauntlet here in the Fast Lane, where it is 4:02. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. With Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter. Welcome back, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys today?
Doing good. So yesterday you had said that it might be a little bit of a revenge tour at some point with Jamie Rivers, but you chose me yesterday. Wound up being a good choice. Are you choosing Jamie today, or are you saving him by choosing Marsh today?
Let the revenge tour commence.
Okay.
Jamie, let's go.
There we go,
baby.
Mike chose Jamie Rivers today.
Ooh,
Jamie
baby.
had a feeling you were going to go after him today.
I had a feeling. All right,
So,
Mike.
there you go.
Good luck, my man.
Jamie, get out of here. Mike, go ahead and tell Marsh to spin that wheel.
Marshy, spin the wheel.
Now, I wasn't in the room yesterday, so I didn't hear this, Mike. What's the category you want?
Baseball is usually my go-to, and from yesterday, it looks like hockey isn't. So we'll see what happens.
You know what's interesting? So I'm the one that always gets hockey. I feel like Jamie is the one that always gets football. Ironically,
wow,
it is spun football, Mike. How you feel about it?
Okay. It's probably my worst category, but hey, it's 4 random questions, so you never know.
There you go. All right. So, football. 4 questions to Mike. Same 4 questions to Jamie Rivers. Each question is worth 2 points unless Mike or Jamie need the options. Mike, are you ready?
I am. Let's do it.
Question number 1. Des Bryant played 8 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys and then 1 season for which other team before retiring? So which team did Des Bryant play for before retiring?
Oh, man. He played for the... Oh, give me the options.
LA Chargers, Minnesota Vikings, Baltimore Ravens.
It was Baltimore. Final answer.
Question number 2. The Detroit Lions drafted Matthew Stafford first overall in the 2009 NFL Draft after his years at which college?
The University of Georgia. Final answer.
All right, Mike, question 3. Which player ended Joe Theismann's career, who suffered a compound fracture of the tibia and fibula when he was sacked by this player?
I want to say it was Lawrence Taylor. Final answer.
All right.
In question number 4, which Chicago Bears defensive lineman was nicknamed the Refrigerator?
William Perry. Final answer.
Okay. Let's bring back Jamie here. Mike, I imagine you feel pretty good.
I feel great. I think I got all of them.
Okay. Where was this yesterday, Marshy?
All right, how we do, guys? The guy Mike, did he bury the needle today?
Well, Jamie, we'll just leave you with this.
Pack a lunch.
Oh, baby. I had a good lunch today, too. All right.
Jamie, are you ready?
No. Go ahead.
Fair enough. Question 1. Des Bryant played 8 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys and then played 1 season for which other team before retiring?
I think it was the Baltimore Ravens, but I'm not 100% sure. I see his name on a couple of different jerseys right now, and I know I shouldn't, but I'm pretty sure it was the Baltimore Ravens. Anthony, I don't like these questions. Give me the options, please.
Chargers, Vikings, Ravens.
Of course. Now I'm thinking Chargers. I'm going to go with my gut instinct on this. I'm going to say the Baltimore Ravens.
Subtle shot received.
What?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Final answer.
Question number 2. The Detroit Lions drafted Matthew Stafford first overall in the 2009 NFL Draft after his years at which college?
Oh, my. Options, please.
Your options are Tennessee, Georgia, Stanford.
Matthew Stanford. That's my final answer.
Matthew Stanford?
Matthew Stanford.
Stanford is your final?
Yeah.
Question number 3. Which player ended Joe Theismann's career after he suffered a compound fracture of the tibia and fibula when he was sacked by this player?
Lawrence Taylor. Final answer.
Question number 4. Which Chicago Bears defensive lineman was nicknamed the Refrigerator?
William the Refrigerator Perry. Final answer.
Okay. Let's go over these. Mike in round 2 against Jamie Rivers today.
Screwed up Stafford.
Which Chicago Bears defensive lineman was nicknamed the Refrigerator? Mike, you went with William Perry. Jamie, you went with William Perry. Correct answer is
William Perry.
William Perry, of course. 2-2 tie because neither of you guys needed the options on that. Which player ended Joe Theismann's career? He suffered a compound fracture of the tibia and fibula when he was sacked by this player. Mike, you went with Lawrence Taylor. Jamie, you went with Lawrence Taylor. Correct answer is
Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor. Neither of you needed the options for that one. Nice job, guys. We have a 4-4 tie between Mike and Jamie. Des Bryant played 8 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys and then 1 season for which other team before retiring? Mike, you went with the Baltimore Ravens. Jamie, you went with the Baltimore Ravens. Correct answer is?
It is the Baltimore Ravens.
But both of you needed the options for this one.
My damn gut, Anthony.
So here's where we're at. Mike has 5. Jamie has 5. Comes down to this question. The Detroit Lions drafted Matthew Stafford first overall in the 2009 NFL Draft after his years at which college? Jamie, you went Stanford.
Yeah, stupid.
Mike, you went Georgia. If it's Georgia, Mike wins. If it's Stanford, Jamie wins. If it's Tennessee, then we have a walk-off. Ooh. Mike.
You have chosen wisely.
It was the Bulldogs that Matthew Stafford played for. Mike with an impressive 7-5 victory today over Jamie Rivers.
Did Mike need the options for that one?
He did not.
Okay, I was screwed anyways.
Yeah.
I don't feel so bad except for...
I'm an SEC boy. I knew that one.
Oh, whatever, bragger.
Mike, congratulations. You're going to advance tomorrow to take on Andrew Marsh for a Gauntlet trophy, man.
Let's do it. You guys have a good day.
You too.
Good job, Mike.
Congrats,
have a good day,
Mike. Way to go.
Later, gentlemen.
Dang it.
Boy, if...
I was screwed anyways.
If I got this one and you got mine yesterday, sometimes it's just the luck of the draw.
I was screwed anyways. I should have went right away. I knew it was the Ravens. But then I started to see his name on the back of other jerseys.
Yeah, you would have.
Head.
Right, that you would have lost by 1 instead of 2 if you did not need the options on that.
Well, I would have tied him.
Oh, Matthew Stanford.
Well, yeah, that was clearly. It's like
that one got
2 minutes after that. Not even. I was like, oh, what am I doing? He went to Georgia.
That's all right.
Idiot.
That's all right.
Idiot.
So
that's all right. You know what, Anthony?
You didn't write down 3,000 for Jaromir Jagr's games played.
That's a good point.
You know,
and Matthew Stafford's. What was it? Touchdowns? What was the one time?
I put like 3.
You clearly misunderstood the assignment.
Yeah. Ironically, the tiebreaker question: how many touchdowns has Matt Stafford recorded in his career?
Oh my goodness!
I probably would have wrote down 4. You know? Yeah, I would have been off. I'm not good with the tiebreakers.
Although I lost, I'm happy with 5 points.
Yeah,
Mike kicked ass with 7.
He did. He was on his game today. All right, so Mike will be back tomorrow. You got to save us there, Marsh.
Woof.
Well, Mike is a nice guy, so
he is.
We have that going for us.
Absolutely going to beat the wheels off him.
That's very true. Analytics in baseball, there's often been, just as we mentioned yesterday, referred to as the devil. It's ruining the game. My question is, why don't we talk about analytics the same way in other sports? Because analytics are all around us, Jamie. Go ahead. Do you have
Do I
one?
have
Can you mention it? I never know, because sometimes you read something on the text line that you can't actually bring to the airwaves. So if you can, go for it.
So this is something that we're actually discussing in the office today. When we say things on here, and somehow it gets lost to some of our listeners, and then they feel the need to text us to tell us that like something is like, well, you guys are really wrong about this, or, that means something else that you're talking about. And in this particular case, something we say that regardless of how the contestant did, we always say pack a lunch, right?
Yeah.
Okay. From the 636, guys, I love the show for sure. But to pack a lunch, that's kind of all you guys say that every time. Even if the person sucked, you do it. It's always pack a lunch.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So the inside joke on that, and we should do a better job of every once in a while kind of going over the inside jokes. Yeah. Because if you're a new
They
listener,
should listen more.
No, if you're a new but you still wouldn't know. Because we always say pack a lunch.
Chats now on YouTube. Ask in there. They're great advice.
But hey, listen. You're right, first of all. But second of all, we should probably go over some of the, the
lingo.
The lingo.
Okay.
So pack a lunch, that one came out of us getting a little bit of heat from the text line, suggesting that we were kind of like tipping each other off.
Yeah, I would say you better pack a lunch and be like, he's letting them know.
Yeah, he's letting them know. I need to be more aggressive.
He's going to answer way harder this way.
Right. So
pack a lunch just became.
We just always say pack a lunch now, whether the guy got 0 points or in this case 7. So,
well, you enunciated option B a little bit more than option C.
Right. Yeah. We don't want.
There are some CSIs out there. You got to watch them.
We've handed out at this point. My performance yesterday in the Gauntlet should really show you that we do not cheat.
Well, we're literally on camera.
We're on camera now, but even before, we've had awful performances in the Gauntlet. We didn't have the cameras on when I answered that Stafford had 4 career touchdown passes. So it's no fun for us to cheat. We do this every day. We want to make the game fun. It's no fun if you're cheating.
Kind of why we changed the format a little bit too.
Absolutely, yeah. We got Jeremy Rutherford coming up at the bottom of the hour, so we'll talk a little Blues hockey with him. But like I said before, why are analytics only hated in baseball? That's next on 101 ESPN.
All right, are you looking to sell your home right now in this crazy market here in St. Louis? Some people are having an easy time. Some people are having a difficult time getting their home sold. In fact, I've seen a lot of signs that are sitting out in the yard recently to where they're just not getting sold. Don't trust any average agent at this point. You have to go with the best. And the best is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Realty, Guaranteed Realty. Here's why. She has options for you. And the one option I absolutely love is guaranteed sales, because who doesn't want a guaranteed sale of their home, right? Well, Gloria Liu guarantees the sale of your home. And how she does that is she sits down with you at your home and figures out a listing price, and you guys agree upon that price, and she'll sell it for said price, or she buys it herself, and she also guarantees that in handwriting. She also has the buyers, too. So if you're looking to generate traffic to your listing, Gloria has thousands of buyers in her database, and that creates certainly more opportunity for you to sell your home, hopefully higher bids, more money at the end of the day. And all you have to do is give Gloria a call, tell her that Jamie Rivers sent you, and call her at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree on the price and possession date.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, Anthony Stalter. Marsh, you got a kick out of Jamie's little dance there for the camera.
I actually forgot about the camera on that one.
It's like something out of like Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah,
just being an idiot.
Just doing his thing. Chris Farley. Wow.
What is a great movie.
Man, it's been a while since I've heard that that movie referenced.
I think Master Maguku's in it. Is that his name?
I have no idea.
You can tell me anything right
Chris
now.
Rock.
Yeah. Chris Rock. I remember Chris Rock. Yeah, Chris Rock was like the hotel
he was the
assistant or something. Or
I think he was the bellhop.
Bellhop. Anyways, I did not expect us to be talking about that today. Guys, I was thinking about this. We always make reference to, analytics in baseball, and we had the conversation yesterday about how some people kind of view analytics being the devil.
Oh yeah.
Adam Sandler, Waterboy documentary, Foosball's the devil, analytics, launch angle, exit velo, the devil. My question to you guys, why are analytics only viewed as a bad thing in baseball? Because analytics are used in every sport.
Oh yeah, they are.
Football, hockey, basketball. Why is it that we only target analytics for like ruining baseball?
I think, and we kind of discussed this lightly earlier, Anthony, I think it's because baseball has an individual competition within a team sport. And what I mean by that is you have a pitcher versus a batter. And if you look at the bulk of the analytics, really the deep dive into analytics, it's literally that. If it's not a pitcher and it's a positional player, it's the launch angle, the exit velo, the whatever, whoa bacon, like whatever. I don't care. Bring up your crazy stat.
There's 4 million.
Yeah. Like the list of stats for a guy playing shortstop. There is a list. It's a small list. The list for that same player at the plate is really lengthy. And so for the pitcher, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. Pitcher has a ton of stats. And so we're constantly bombarded by these stats when it's a pitcher versus a hitter, because you have to. I mean, you're trying to tell the story. You're trying to read what's going on here. Why is the matchup good? Why is it not good? Why are we having this guy? Why do we switch this batter when it's a lefty on the bump? Because his numbers suck against lefties. Okay, well, why do they suck? Well, he hits the ball. His launch angle is like 10. It's terrible. So I think it's because of the individual matchups within the team sport. Mm. So we isolate that nonstop. Whereas like football, hockey, basketball, it's several players all the time in on the action. There's analytics that describe all sorts of situations, and something where coaches will change a system or a defensive zone coverage or a forecheck based upon certain analytics. Yeah. But it's not like just absolutely burying the needle with 27 different categories of analytics because of a neutral zone pass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we that's interesting. Yeah, so what you're saying is that it's because it's an individual sport, we are breaking down that individual constantly as opposed to applying the analytics to the team like we do for football, basketball, and hockey. I think that's a really good point, Jamie. Yeah, in football, the action is constant. Hockey, the action is constant. We can stand back and say, oh, wow, they blitzed that linebacker because – they blitz the linebacker in the A gap because they leave the A gap unprotected in that, in that situation, they let the A gap unprotected. So they blitz the linebacker. They're big sack in that moment. That's smart. That's using analytics smart, but it applies to a team winning as opposed to breaking down an individual player. We barely scratch the surface when we do that with like quarterbacks, for example. And a lot of people are like, okay, fine, I'll just watch the game. But the flow is constant. With baseball, there's a lot of start and stop. There's a lot more information that can be utilized in a broadcast or, on radio.
Or even just post-game describing certain things, writing about
graphics and all that, as opposed to football and hockey, which are highlight sports. You're really just kind of interested in the highlights if it's not your team. So I think that's interesting. Marsh, you also had a different viewpoint on this that I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I think that...
Did I say interesting 3 times there?
Maybe.
Marsh, you had an interesting point that I want you to...
That's 4 now.
Give to the listeners, because I thought that point that you made was not only interesting, but interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting subject for sure.
It is.
I think with baseball, you see a lot of coaches at the youth level are teaching players a certain way to play using analytics, and I feel like you don't necessarily do that in other sports. Kind of like what Jamie was saying.
Right.
A lot of analytics with hockey or football, basketball is mostly based off of systems and has nothing to do with the actual fundamentals of how to play the game.
Yeah.
Whereas baseball, you're talking about launch angle. Well, if this guy can swing, has a different bat path, then maybe he'll hit a home run. And now you're seeing a lot of players now that aren't necessarily great at just making contact and getting base hits. That's why you see a lot of players are striking out more. The average has gone down over the years. That's why maybe guys on the team aren't driving runners in, because they're not putting bat on ball. They're looking to drive the ball, and they're either doing it or they're striking out, or they're rolling over on pitches, or they're swinging at pitches outside of the zone or whatever. So I feel like baseball is using analytics to essentially teach kids how to play the game in its most current form, whereas other sports, you're not seeing that.
Yeah.
Another thing, too, is when you look at baseball, there's these baseball labs all over the country.
Yeah.
Where these kids go in there, they sign up, they've got computer-generated screen that shows where their swings at. They talk about the launch angle, the exit view, all this stuff, and the kid's like 7 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like 12 years old.
Yeah.
And so then what happens is mom and dad go home and they pull up Mike Trout. Well, this is his numbers. This is what Mike Trout does. So we got to make sure that you're getting that bat up in the zone a little higher. So they're using analytics to coach a kid how to play baseball. Hockey, we don't do that.
Right.
We'll show video of the game, but where there's a collapse or a bad decision, not necessarily saying, by the way, that kid, 87% of the time, he toe drags that guy in that situation.
Right.
You better be ready for it.
Yeah.
We'll say, hey, by the way, he likes to toe drag. Stick on puck, shoulder through chest.
Yeah, you're talking fundamentals.
You're fundamentals here. So you don't see that. Now, it's available. There's certain hockey labs, per se, that guys can get in there and shoot a puck with a certain stick, and they figure out the flex of the stick and optimal, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not sitting there saying, oh, by the way you're shooting the puck, the launch angle for your top shelf shot is not quite where it needs to be. You need to really roll the wrist back over it. No, you're sitting on the ice with the kid, and you're saying, okay, this isn't the right way to do it. Drop your hand a little bit. You let the stick do the work. Boom. I'm not quoting analytics. I'm teaching fundamentals.
Yeah.
So I think that the baseball labs, which are great for who? Mostly. Predominantly pitchers and hitters. Now you have fielding schools where they show the kids how to field, but they're not taking the iPad necessarily and showing a bunch of analytics.
Right.
They might show the video side by side with, when you do it right, when you do it wrong, here's what it looks like. But that's not necessarily analytics. But it is for sure when you have the young pitchers and the young hitters.
Sure.
So again, it's the individual side of it.
And others have brought this up, too. Theo Epstein brought this up. Theo Epstein talked about how they've screwed up their own game because it is all about the 3 true outcomes.
Coming from him, how grand.
Right, but he was being self-aware. He was saying, I was leading. I was almost kind of leading this charge.
He's like Victor Conti.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Tough comparison.
Yeah, but when it comes to can you hit a home run? Can you throw 95? A lot of scouts are looking at it. They won't even look at you unless you throw 90 plus now.
And they even do that for some of the kids in the field.
Yeah.
Too.
So
your shortstop. Do you throw it?
Your shortstop.
Do you throw it 90 plus?
Right. And a lot of times, Jamie, it's about footwork. It's about getting to your backhand, your bad foot in sync. You don't have to necessarily have a strong throwing arm to play shortstop. It certainly helps. But a lot of times it's instincts. It's glove work.
Yeah.
Just don't put a guy at second base because he can't throw it at
totally agree, Anthony. Stuff like that would be completely unfair.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys now.
Missed out on a great player.
Seriously.
Who also couldn't hit a curveball. But that was Yeah, real glue guy.
There's a lot of players now that have the speed, they have the strength, but some things that they're lacking is baseball IQ.
Yeah,
where
right.
you know, if you look at player X who has that power, doesn't have the baseball IQ, they're probably going to take that guy over the second baseman that we were just referencing.
Right.
Who does have the baseball IQ, who does think he can be, you know, a general manager one day, who does talk on the radio.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I don't know.
He cloaked.
He did. He did.
He went the old cloak and dagger there.
He did. We get a text, by the way, from
all of a sudden he had a dagger
from the Grape Ape Auto Detailing guy. All right. He says, we're 100% correct, gents. My kid right now is freaking 7 and is going through this.
Yeah. It's a shame, too, because it should be, you know, you're having fun.
Right.
The game's supposed to be fun.
It almost reminds me of like golf, like going to a golf simulator,
right?
And figuring out your swing path,
right?
And figuring out what your exit speed is on the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you love the game first? Do you love the game, and then can you progress from there? You know, if you want to be serious about it, okay, you know, high school or whatever, but. What do you say? 7th grade or 7 years old?
7 years old.
7 years old.
But I see
daughter's 7.
I see it all the time. When my daughter was playing softball, we'd go to some of these batting places. Now they were just hitting off a tee and whatever coach pitch and just like kind of going through the fundamentals. But some of the kids there, they had all the technology. They had the computers right on the side, and every swing would come through, and it would have like a red swoop or a green swoop, meaning like your swing was either in the strike zone for the right amount of time or it wasn't.
Right.
These kids are sitting there like 10 years old, like in their own dome at that point.
Right.
Man, I'm never gonna make it.
Travis Kelce said, if you're thinking too much, it ties up your feet, and I thought that was just a great metaphor. I thought. You could picture it. You're thinking so much now. Your feet are completely tied up.
Totally.
Just 10 years old. Come on now. All right, we got to talk to Jeremy Rutherford. We'll get some Blues hockey in next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. After losing yesterday 6-3 to the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Cardinals defeat the Pirates today 6-4. There was a weather delay. Zach Thompson went 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 earned runs. He walked 1 and had 5 strikeouts. We talked about Zach Thompson earlier today with our guy BT. If you missed that, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or use the 101 mobile app. You can find the full show there. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We've been talking a lot of Cardinals baseball today. It's time to talk some Blues hockey. We have our guy Jeremy Rutherford from The Athletic to talk some Blues hockey. That's coming your way next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Time for the Rutherford Report on 101 ESPN.
Anything you folks want to know about the fascinating world of pro hockey, here we go.
That's right. Time to talk a little Blues hockey with our guy Jeremy Rutherford from The Athletic. You can follow him online at JP Rutherford on X. Which is still weird to
X
say.
don't give it to you.
That's right. That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. What's up, JR?
Nothing, buddy. I haven't said X once yet. I don't think that I'll ever say it.
Yeah.
But it feels weird saying Twitter when it's clearly not Twitter anymore.
Right.
And what do you call it? A tweet or an X now?
An X.
I just X'd.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to say that.
Yeah, it seems.
Yeah. I didn't think about it before I said it, Anthony. My bad.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. Well, and that new X logo has like a slash that goes through the middle of it. So every time it pops up on my watch, it looks like I have a crack in my watch. So I want to tell these guys to get their logo right.
Yeah.
Anyways, Austin Matthews just signed a 4-year contract extension with the Toronto Maple Leafs. What does this mean for hockey when a superstar like Matthews signed a 4-year deal, JR, and you look back with Robert Thomas on an 8-year deal, same thing with Cairo. So what does this mean now for the Maple Leafs and Austin Matthews?
Yeah, first of all, great for Maple Leafs fans to get that done. I know that's been a point of contention here for a couple of years, what's going to happen. And it doesn't solve their problems with William Nylander and a couple of the other guys that are going to be up for contracts, but it gets their top guy, Austin Matthews, signed, and it's at a good number. And, Riv, I like when these players do the 4-year deals. You look at Stamkos did it in Tampa a few years ago, and then he's still prime age, 27, 28, when that contract is due again. Then he signs another big one. And so, yeah, you're going to make out like a bandit when you sign the 11-year, 10-year, way back when, those types of contracts. But I think it's a situation with these guys. They're still in the prime of their career. Matthews will still be young age when he comes up after this one.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that it doesn't handcuff the team either. So if the Maple Leafs can't get to the promised land or even get past the second round, 4 years from now, if they want to go in a different direction, let's say they've got to go through a rebuild, they can't afford all these guys anymore. Now you're not married to a long-term contract that's eating up a ton of money either.
Yeah, and the other side thing to this in terms of what Blues fans will be interested in is William Nylander, because there's been a lot of talk in Toronto that he could be available if indeed they've got too much of a cap crunch and can't bring him back. Nylander in Europe today talking to The Athletic and Sportsnet and a couple other reporters who made the trip over there for the European player availabilities. He said he's not worried. He wants to stay in Toronto. Really isn't focused on the contract yet. So not too much information there, but said he really wants to stay in Toronto.
JR, this leads me back to a couple of different things that I wanted to discuss with you. The first thing, I was out on the ice with the guys the other day and noticing young guys are starting to roll into town, and it got my brain kind of working, just kind of trying to figure out of the young guys that have the potential of playing for the Blues this year, whether it's a Bolduc or a Dean or pick your player. It doesn't matter who it is, young guy. We'll just call him that. What young guy for you could surprise people and make the Blues have a tough decision come the end of training camp?
Yeah, well, I think there was going to be a couple of them potentially, and then some of those late signings, when you talk about a Mackenzie McEachern, when you talk about an Oscar Sundqvist, I think ate up a couple spots, and now it makes you kind of wonder. Also, Doug Armstrong doesn't give out a ton of information in terms of what the team's plans are. But, guys, he did say a couple times this offseason, you know, you look at Dean and you look at Bolduc, and they potentially could be ready soon, but we feel like they need more seasoning. And so I think what he's telling you there is he'd like for those guys to start out in Springfield, get some games, and then see what's going on. You look at a couple of the players that played for the Blues last season too, who got some games late in the season, whether it be in the bottom two lines or the defensemen, the bottom two pairs. You know, I think it's a situation where he wants these guys, even though it's a retool, to get some more experience. So I think that he's going to play some of these guys that he brought in, like Sundqvist, like maybe McEachran, even as a depth forward. And if you're going to see a guy, you know, Dean is a guy that Tim Taylor, the director of player personnel, brought up to me as somebody who could step in next season and play. And I think at times you're probably going to see Bolduc. But those are some of the names that I think that are coming through the system that are probably going to get a chance.
JR, another young guy that is talked about quite a bit here right now is Scott Perunovich. And a lot of people here in Blues Nation wondering where he fits in. You look at this defensive core, it's deep. You still have Torrey Krug, that to me is almost a mirror image of what Scott Perunovich could be and would definitely take away some prime power play time from the young guy. In your opinion, what does it look like in order for Scott Perunovich to get more time?
Well, I think it's got to happen, and obviously he's got to stay healthy. I get that. That's what all the fans are going to talk about. Perunovich is definitely aware of that after having these 3 injuries. But, Riv, to me, you look at the chronological order of how that happened. Scott Perunovich was signed one day this offseason. He was signed to his extension. He's going to make the minimum next year. And then just a couple days later, you have the Torrey Krug to Philadelphia rumors, and then, of course, he invokes his no-trade clause, and he's not going. But that's Doug Armstrong doing his homework in order, get the Perunovich deal done, know that that's taken care of. Then he can try to trade Torrey Krug. It didn't happen, but I think that shows the cards of what they felt about that situation, that you probably can't have both of those guys in the lineup, and you'd like to get Perunovich in there. So when you're 8 or 9 deep on D, you know, it's going to be hard to find guys, if they're all healthy, the playing time. But I think Perunovich is a guy that you got to see what you have for one, and he has to play games. He's not going to get any better in Springfield, and he's not going to get any better in the press box.
Jeremy Rutherford joining us right now from The Athletic here on 101 ESPN. JR, we've been asked this question. You might have a better feel for this. What's going on with the Blues announcing a captain?
So, yeah, that's something that I think caught a lot of our attention in the offseason, maybe at the end of last year, rather, when Doug Armstrong said that, you know, he doesn't know if he's going to name one. And he went as far as to say, I'll reach out to guys like Barrett Jackman, David Backes, see if it's necessary in today's day and age. What I've learned in the past couple months about the Blues' intentions, and everything's subject to change, you know, they could make up their mind one way or another. But I think that they might, in fact, go without a captain. And I think that's twofold. Does Doug Armstrong really think that one is needed? You know, that could be part of the equation. But I think the bigger part here is, you know, are you ready to give it to Robert Thomas? And I think maybe the answer is not yet. And do you give it to Braden Shen for a couple years, knowing that Robert Thomas could be ready in a couple years, but also Shen would still be around because his contract has about 5 more years left on that. So, you know, I don't know that Doug Armstrong's thinking that deep on the situation. I just think that it's legitimate that the Blues could go into the season without a captain, at least poking my nose around the situation. That's what I've heard in the past month or so.
Yeah, I don't like it. I honestly, I don't care where the game is headed at this point, JR. You need a leader in that locker room, and I think that that's part of the problem that you see in teams that are younger that don't have a captain, is you kind of don't really have the one guy that you lean on. And I know the contract plays and all this stuff, but look at Toronto. John Tavares is a captain. Austin Matthews is a superstar. He doesn't need to be able to see. And so when I look at the St. Louis Blues, for me, without question, the captain is Braden Shen. And if it's 2 years from now that you're like, oh, man, Robert Thomas really seems like he's emerging, guess what? He's still got 6 more years on his contract. Braden Shen doesn't. You'll eventually pass the torch on, but your captain has to be the one guy that's noticeably the leader of your club. And at this point, and it's certainly in the near future, I think it's Braden Shen.
I agree. And if they do name one, I think that's who it has to be. And I'll look at it like this. We just talked about all these young kids coming up and it being a retool for at least another year. Could they make the playoffs next year? Yeah, but this is a retool any way you look at it. And to me, if you're a Bolduc and you're coming up, No, how much did it help Thomas and Kyrou to have a Ryan O'Reilly to look to and stay after practice with? And I think these guys who probably had a captain their entire career are going to come in and say, okay, who's the leader? Does that mean that Braden Shen couldn't do it if he didn't have a seed? No, he's going to be a leader either way. But I think in what the Blues are going through, and they're looking for leadership, and even though they didn't have Ryan O'Reilly at the end of last year, they're still going through a phase where they're trying to say, okay, who are we listening to? I think Braden Shen's got to be that guy, and if they are going to name a captain, I think it could be him. But, Doug Armstrong doing his due diligence might hang on and wait to put the C on somebody.
Well, I'll tell you what, being around the skates here for the last 2-3 weeks, it's very clear that Braden Shen is the captain. Whether he has the C or not, he's leading all the guys out there. So it'll be interesting to see what Army decides.
Yep, in agreement with you there, buddy.
JR, great stuff, man. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, thanks, boys.
That's Jeremy Rutherford at JP Rutherford. Maybe we'll talk about this a little bit later on, too. Biggest question of the day. Maybe we'll throw that back at you, Jamie. But let's do what's trending next here on 101 ESPN.
Anthony, we're going over some FanDuel Sportsbook odds earlier in the show today, and I'm excited for the NFL season, and I'm excited to go through the season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, FanDuel, they always have great promotions, by the way, but right now specifically, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. So that's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, and all you have to do is wager $5.
That's it.
That's it.
There you have it. And then you can play anything you want. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're looking at a Super Bowl futures play. Maybe, like we were doing earlier, talking about the MVP odds for certain players or, passing touchdowns. You get into the preseason games. This is it. Last week of preseason, but then week one's going to be around the corner. No better app or site to use than FanDuel. We're talking about all the top odds, the live betting. They've got it all at FanDuel. The app is super easy to use. It's safe. It's secure. When you get paid instantly. When you win, you get paid instantly. It's great at FanDuel. No better time to do it than right now with week one right around the corner.
You heard the fellas. You want to get in on this, and here's how you do it. You go to FanDuel.com/fast. That's FanDuel.com/fast to kick off the NFL season with FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Illinois. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues non-withdrawable bonus. Best that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard.
sports, the Fast Lane has you covered. What's trending now?
Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate to Goodwill and get a half-price Cardinals ticket voucher.
Before we check in with Andrew Marsh and see what's trending, we've got your chance right now to win a pair of lawn tickets to see Shinedown with special guest Papa Roach next Sunday night, September 3rd at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Text in to score free tickets right now to see Shinedown, 314-399-9646, but you have to have the correct answer to our trivia question today and also be the 101st texter. But the question is, when we were talking to BT earlier, when he was at PNC Park during the rain delay, we had BT on. He had mentioned that PNC Park probably wanted to not call the game because they wanted to push which beer?
Oh, that was easy.
Which beer did PNC Park want to push, according to BT?
One that just recently became available here in St. Louis.
Okay, well, there you have it. Jamie just gave you a huge...
Yeah, I did.
A huge tip.
You're welcome.
314-399-9646, again, is the Air Comfort Service text line. You can also find a bonus chance at winning free tickets for the show right now on the 101 mobile app. Get all the details at 101ESPN.com. Here is Andrew Marsh with What's Trending.
All right, gentlemen, the Cards and Pirates wrapped up things earlier today after the weather delay, like you just mentioned, but a 6-4 victory for the Cardinals. What do we think about Zach Thompson's outing? What do we think about Richie Palacios doing his thing?
3 for 4 again today. Did you see that?
Big double in the first inning.
Enrico Palacios goes 3 for 4 with a ding-dong Johnson last night. I'm happy for this guy,
He's taking advantage of the opportunities. And speaking of BT, I asked him, hey, is there any chance for him to kind of carve out a role maybe for himself moving on here? And BT said it's open competition for everybody, including Zach Thompson, who looked sharp again. 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 5 Ks, 1 walk. He had the slider working. He looked comfortable again. Zach Thompson, I think, is turning some heads right now.
By the way, we did the home run derby thing yesterday. We didn't do it today, early game.
Yeah.
But Palacios got me a home run. So
nice
I'm at
job.
3 now.
There you go, Marsh.
Thank you.
You're clawing those.
I'm climbing
up
my
those
way
standings.
back.
And a boy. Proud of you, kid.
But speaking of home runs and Cardinal players, let's look at a former Cardinal player, the King, Paul DeJong, who was released from the Toronto Blue Jays, got picked up by the San Francisco Giants. I almost said 49ers there for a second.
That'd be interesting.
It would be interesting. Now, what position do you think Paul DeJong would play if he was a football player?
Punter.
Punter? I could see that.
No, he's actually a pretty big guy. I don't know where he'd play, though. He doesn't really have a tremendous amount of foot speed.
No.
He's not big enough to be a linebacker.
No, he wouldn't. Yeah.
He's too smart for that.
He wouldn't.
Like, you look at his personality, he's just way too smart for that.
What are you saying?
Well, what I'm saying is I don't think Paul DeJong would want that physical contact on his brain all the time. Like, he's not wired that way. Like, football players, Anthony, are wired differently. Hockey players are wired differently. UFC fighters are wired differently.
Yeah, true. He's 6 foot 205, so no.
So Paul DeJong hit a two-run home run.
No.
Paul DeJong for the San Francisco Giants facing the Phillies in Philly hit a 2-run home run to tie the game. I'm just wondering, do you think the Cardinals called the Giants, said, hey, can you pick this guy up? We don't want to pay for a plane ticket for Paul DeJong. I know we're about to go to Philly. We're just going to have you sign him for a day, and then we'll pick him back up in Philly.
For the Cardinals?
Yeah.
I mean, it's in play. You never know. You never know.
Probably, yeah. Probably, Marsh. They did not want to get rid of him.
Right.
They cursed the Giants for picking him up. So, yeah, probably.
I think in all seriousness, no, Paul DeJong can be
serviceable.
Absolutely. In the postseason. In the postseason, he could be a bench bat that comes off and maybe gets a double or home run right when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good pickup for San Francisco with them being in the wild card mix.
They saw something that works for their organization, and as of this moment, right now, today, they look like geniuses. We picked him up and we knew he could thrive because of whatever it is we do here in San Francisco. And then he hits an absolute piss missile over the fence.
Sprinkle some of that magic on him. Yep. They also had a need. Brandon Crawford's hurt. Their young guy, Luciano, that they brought up.
They could have signed him to a minor league deal.
They could have. But what I'm saying is Crawford's hurt. So they needed a shortstop. They've had some guys that have filled in there, but it worked out well. But you're right, Jamie. They're not just. There's other shortstops available, certainly, that they probably could have went with, but they didn't. They saw something maybe in DeYoung, despite the fact that he stunk in Toronto for a short period of time.
Last thing here, San Francisco 49ers, not the Giants, have named Sam Darnold the backup quarterback to Brock Purdy. So the future for Trey Lance is just up in the air. Is his career like somewhat over before it even started? He's not good.
His career in San Francisco is.
For sure.
And I had mentioned this. This isn't me reacting to the news that Marsh just shared. I had said this last week. I said or 2 weeks ago, he's destined to be the third string quarterback for the 49ers. He's not a fit for Shanahan's offense. Now, you might be saying, well, why did they draft him? Shanahan wanted Mac Jones. He did not want Trey Lance. John Lynch wanted Trey Lance. And John Lynch said, look, this is somebody that can elevate your offense. Kyle Shanahan knows what he wants in his quarterback. It's not Trey Lance. So I think Trey Lance was kind of dead on arrival when it came to playing for the 49ers. They made a bad deal. They could have stayed, or they could have moved up a little bit ahead of the Patriots to take Mac Jones. Instead, they get Trey Lance, and I do think his career in San Francisco is going to be over. But they can't release him. It's like a $10 million cap hit, so they're not going to release him. He's going to be their third-string quarterback, or they're going to just trade him for pennies on the dollar, which isn't a good business move, but maybe they get to the point where they need a roster spot, and they just make a deal. So somebody will trade for him, but you're not going to get anything of value. Maybe you get a deal where it's like a draft pick, and then there's some certain escalators that if he plays a certain amount of snaps or games or whatever, that winds up being a third-round pick instead of a fourth-round pick or something. But there's making him the third-string quarterback behind Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy. He's got no trade value now.
Only thing they have to hope for is that somebody runs into an injury problem.
Certainly.
And they're in need of a quarterback, and maybe they're a team that were in on Trey Lance too way back when.
Right. Right.
But that's a lot of if.
And you know what, Jamie? You kind of sparked my interest. By the way, we do have our Sports Six-Pack coming up. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. So if you got a question for us, send it in. And you know what? I'll throw out the first question, too, because I'm interested in what you just said there. So I'm going to look something up. I'll have the first question. You guys have the rest next on 101 ESPN.
Master tease. You're looking to remodel your kitchen or your bathroom. Maybe it's the countertops specifically that you're looking for. E&B Granite has you covered. And I used to go into these places looking at countertops and wanting to purchase a countertop. And they'd give you a little square of it and say, oh, this is what it looks like. I couldn't tell what that looked like. Well, I went to E&B Granite, located down at 6135 Manchester Avenue. Walked in there, talked to the sales representative, and she said, well, what kind of countertop are you looking for? And I'm like, well, what do you have? And she said, we got granite, we've got quartz, we got marble, we got soapstone. They have all sorts of different kinds of countertops. And I was able to walk into the back of the warehouse and walk up and down the aisles looking at these full slabs of the countertops themselves. I got to see exactly what the pattern was, how it looked, and it really helped me make my decision. And from there, the entire process was silky smooth. They got into my home. They measured the kitchen out properly, pulled out all the old countertops and whatnot, and then they installed the new countertops, and then the representative told me how to take care of it. It was amazing. The experience that I had as far as a customer with E&B Granite was fantastic, and you should too. So please give them a call. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. That number is 314-645-9300. That's 314-645-9300, or you can visit them at enbgranite.com.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by Maggie O'Brien's, your go-to Irish pub in St. Louis for over 42 years.
.502, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Time for our Sports Six-Pack.
Question number 1.
So I had mentioned that you had brought up Trey Lance, and you had said, maybe find a team that could have been interested in him, around the draft. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to see which teams drafted around the Niners with the 3rd overall pick. That's the pick they used after trading up with Miami to take Trey Lance. The Jets were right ahead of them. They took Zach Wilson. Now, the Jaguars had the number 1 overall pick, which was Trevor Lawrence. Jets took Zach Wilson.
Trey Lance, 3rd. Woof.
Yeah.
Scouts fired everywhere.
Yep. The Falcons took Kyle Pitts right after the 49ers. So the Falcons with Desmond Ridder. That maybe that's a team. Cincinnati doesn't need a QB, obviously. Miami, probably not, but who knows with Tua's injury history. Maybe they were kind of scouting Trey Lance. Detroit, they've got Jared Goff, so probably not. Carolina just took their QB of the future. Denver's got our guy, old knee bends there. Mm-hmm. Mr. Unlimited. Philadelphia, no. Bears got Fields. The Falcons might make a lot of sense. Desmond Ridder, 3rd round pick. They just want him to turn around and hand the ball off. So
to who, Anthony?
Bijan Robinson. Your guy, Jamie.
I thought you were going to say the other one.
No. Well, Bijan.
Bijan Frise.
Mm-hmm.
That would be his nickname for me.
Yeah.
Hey, Frise.
Other than that, I don't know who else who would have been interested. Oh, maybe the Patriots.
Maybe a complete different look from Mac Jones. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't look good.
No.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
Question number 2.
This one is from Oz, who is in Florida. He says, what the hell is a piss missile?
Oh, I'm glad he brought that up. So this dates way back, okay? Not Roman times, way back.
Okay, I was about to say I don't remember that from Roman times.
We're talking like...
No, like in my life.
Oh.
Yeah.
They meant early
BC.
BC.
No, it's definitely not that. So, young Jamie Rivers and a young Sean Rivers, whether it was by, just clearly not caring or just being jerks, we had a hard time not peeing all over the seat in the house growing up. And
couldn't get a handle on it.
Correct. Some would say that. Well said. So we had one bathroom in the house, a smaller home, grew up very modestly.
Sure.
And Mama Rivers got tired of seeing it and tired of wiping it up because, we'd be long gone at that point. So what she did is she told us to rip a piece of toilet paper off. She made a game out of it. Rip a piece of toilet paper off, throw it in the middle of the toilet, and then destroy it with your pee. Hence the piss missile.
Gotcha.
So now we'd be standing there and you'd kind of hold it for a bit because you wanted to get maximum velocity. And then you just unleash that thing.
It's not a bad idea.
And you'd fire a laser beam right through the toilet paper.
Sharks with
looking for
laser beams.
Massive destruction.
Okay.
So much so you'd brag about it. Look what I did to the toilet paper this time.
Looks like a high school football team running out on
right through the
on
thing.
the field.
100%.
For homecoming.
So I no longer wanted to pee on the seat. I wanted to destroy toilet paper with my piss missile.
Why did you want to pee on the seat to begin with?
I don't think I wanted to. I just didn't think it's like, you're a kid, you're running. So my brother and I would play.
Some kids, they swing back and forth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Just completely irresponsible.
I'm not saying that's what I did as a kid.
So my brother and I would be playing hockey outside in the driveway all the time, football, baseball, whatever it was. And if you had to pee, you'd run in the house.
Yeah.
And you want to get back really quickly to it. So you're certainly not focused on being,
accurate.
No, or lifting the actual toilet seat. You lift the lid and you're like, just get it out of the way and get back outside.
I've got a game to win.
Yeah. So
that's where it comes from.
There you have it.
Okay.
You're welcome. Feel free to use this strategy at home, whether it's with your children or your husbands. Either way.
Good breakdown, Jamie. Nice job.
Question number 2.
From the 217, the Kansas City Royals yesterday released 2 designs for a new ballpark at a couple new potential sites. Have you seen them? If so, which do you prefer?
I haven't seen the drops or whatever. I will say this: I was just in Kansas City. We went to the Great Wolf Lodge out there, and they've got everything fairly close. They've got Kauffman Stadium and Arrowhead are right there. You can see both off the highway. But where we were staying, in that same little area, they had Sporting KC Stadium, which is really nice. And then Kansas Motor Speedway is right there where they have the NASCAR race and stuff. They do a good job kind of laying everything out, and the parking didn't seem like it was a bad thing. Now, when you got a Royals game or a Chiefs game, I'm sure it gets a little congested because it's downtown. But I think Kansas City's got a nice area if they want to tear down Kauffman Stadium and go in another direction. I thought that stadium
was like, people liked it.
I think people like the waterfall.
I do.
I'm pretty sure that recently.
You don't like the waterfall?
I do.
You don't like the water feature?
I do like the water feature.
It's what pulls it together, quite honestly, is the waterfall.
I mean, what else are you looking at?
Water aspect of it.
Yeah, the water aspect.
Pulls it all together.
It certainly does, Jamie.
I think they just did some renovations to the ballpark, not that long ago.
Oh, really?
I mean, I don't know. I could just be making that up, but
could be.
I mean, it
could be a completely different ballpark.
He was hoping we go, they did.
I was hoping, yeah. I'm pretty sure they did.
Well,
I'm like
Randy.
I'm at like an 80-20.
Randy Carricker would have had that for you. She would have been like, of course, But you're looking at a couple of guys, it's blank stares for you, Marsh.
I have seen the renderings. I personally think I think both of them look kind of dumb, to be honest.
Wow.
I actually sent you the renderings if you want to take a gander.
Where'd you send them?
On Twitter.
Well, on the old tweet machine?
Yeah.
Like in a message? Or
Oh, yeah, I see it now. He slipped into our DMs.
Where?
Right in your DMs.
I don't have it.
I just shared it with you.
Oh, now I have it, Marshy.
There you go.
You just told me you sent it.
I like the top one.
Let's see here. You like the top?
Yeah.
I figured you for the bottom one.
Yeah. It depends on the situation.
Yeah. Clearly.
Some of these new ballparks they're too corporate looking. You know? Give me the old stadiums where it goes all the way around and the top looks like a bottle cap and you got arches and the.
So you want Busch
top.
Stadium?
Yeah.
Busch Stadium is nice. I like Busch Stadium.
Busch Stadium is great.
Like Busch 2. The
Busch 2 is
great.
great.
For me was iconic.
Busch 2 is great. Obviously, the new Busch Stadium
with
we
all
have
the
now is
arches
great.
and all that.
Yeah, that was
very
nice.
unique.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I think Busch Stadium is phenomenal. I really do. I think the Cardinals done a fantastic job with all of that.
But it
always feels very clean.
It does, and it doesn't look like a spaceship.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
It's the brickwork. I'm just saying, like the
feels
way
like it's
that,
way more open air.
Yes,
too, the way they've designed that.
Yeah.
If I was to pick on these two renderings here, I do sincerely like the top one better. The other one looks too futuristic for me. Give me baseball, just
I don't like
without the craziness to it. Give me something that 20 years from now still looks good.
Good call.
This is why I love the tax line. From the 618, between 2007 and 2009, Kauffman Stadium underwent a $250 million renovation, which included updates and upgrades in fan amenities, a new Royals Hall of Fame area, and other updates throughout the facility.
I mean,
So
recently is a stretch.
16 years ago.
Do you know how old the stadium is, though?
Yeah, but
it's pretty damn old.
Saying recently is a stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's recent.
That's why Jamie and I didn't pick up on what you're saying.
If it would have been like in the last 5 years,
Jamie and I would have had you covered.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of stadiums, like that's pretty recent for. I mean, look at Busch Stadium. They haven't done any renovations since.
They haven't had to.
They haven't had to. It's baseball heaven.
Other than the Budweiser Terrace that they knocked those seats out and put up there,
Which is fantastic.
It is great.
Yeah.
But anyways. I don't think it matters. No one's going to show up anyways. The team stinks.
Question number
I do like
3.
their uniforms, though.
You do?
The Royals uniforms, that blue and all that. I like the blue.
Really?
But I'm the guy that likes the Cardinals blue, too.
Big blue fan, huh?
Imagine that. Imagine that.
Makes sense.
I didn't even plan that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Do you like the Cardinals powder blue?
Yeah.
Or like the navy blue?
No, I like the powder blue.
I like the navy blue helmet.
The hat. Yeah, okay. That's
They
not
need
a
to go
uniform,
back
though.
to the navy blue
understand
hats. I will die on that hill.
I'm with you on that.
On the road caps.
Yeah.
They need to go back to that.
That's why they're losing.
100%.
No, they had them on there last weekend.
They haven't won a World Series since.
They have World Series. Nobody's watching, Jamie.
I am. I still am.
Golden out hope.
Oh, I got to talk about this crap.
Anyways, the question.
The weekend, though.
It's literally how I sell my kids on it at night.
Yeah, talk about it.
The Cardinals, they stink this. I got to talk about this tomorrow. You just sit
Question
there,
number 4.
be quiet.
Question number 4
Oliver
here.
Marsh just powered through.
Yeah, why not? From the 636, based on the earlier conversation, what sport do you think most benefits from analytics?
Most benefits. Wow. Ooh.
Bowling.
Bowling, you say?
I think probably baseball.
I would say baseball.
I mean, I think it has to be. I think it has the most analytics. I don't know that to be a fact, but boy, oh boy, I'm putting my money on it.
Yeah. I don't, and you're also, don't forget, you're talking to two guys that view analytics for what they are. They're not good or bad. They're numbers. It's information. Now, we can talk about whether or not a team or manager is overusing the analytics or leaning too much on analytics. We can talk about that. But analytics are what they are. They're numbers. It's information. It's up to the people that have the numbers to interpret them and make sure that they're making the right decisions based on numerous factors. So I would say baseball, yeah. Baseball has more, in my opinion, they have more, they have better statistics to project. I think they're more accurate when it comes, especially with pitching.
Well, you're playing them. You're playing a lot of games.
You are.
That's why.
So when you're looking at, you're right, there's a lot more data then. When you're looking at a pitcher, and over his last 5 starts, he's got a 3.34 ERA, but his FIP, his fielding independent percentage, is like a 6. He's not pitching as well as the ERA would indicate. And then you can go from there and say, okay, well, he's got a high walk rate. He's got a lot of guys on base, but he's leaving them on base. So there's a lot that goes through. And then all of a sudden you see that pitcher like, you know what? I think this pitcher's going to take a turn.
Yeah.
I think baseball analytics do a better job of predicting. There's no guarantee of that. There's no guarantee that pitcher's going to be worse over his next 5 starts. But I think more times than not, you get an indication like, yeah, you know what? This guy's going to have a hiccup here.
If you had to put a name to that example, that exact example you just used, who would it be? Because I have a name in mind, too.
Oh, really? To Dakota Hudson?
I was going to say John Gant.
Oh, John Gant.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's a good one.
And I don't even I just threw out Dakota Hudson because I thought maybe that's where you were going. That probably isn't fair.
It really isn't, Anthony.
I apologize to
I don't like
Dak.
the way you just pick on him. What?
He's been great.
He's been fine.
No, Anthony, you don't have to get that way either. Okay?
He's been very
good.
he's been
good.
very good.
He's been good.
He's been Dak has been very good.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 5.
From the 618, I really like this question. Could you guys give us a history lesson of the Fast Lane? Like who started the show, who had been the previous host, co-host, and producers?
Randy Carricker for almost all those categories.
Yeah, so it was Randy, DeMarco, and Bob Rammer. The producer, Mike Ryder probably helped me on this one. Was it Chris Gardner? Todd Weiss.
I think it was Todd Weiss, Anthony.
Thank you. Todd Weiss was the producer. And then from there,
oh boy,
Rammer was eventually replaced by Dunk. Dunk came in. Dunk was doing a show with Brian Stully at night. And then Rammer went to the night show. So it was Stully and Rammer. And the three was Randy, DeMarco, and Dunk. At one point, it was Bradford Bruns who was producing. I don't know who was ahead of Bradford. And then I took over for Bradford as the producer. So the Fast Lane that I produced was Randy, DeMarco, and Dunk. Then when Dunk had his first scare with cancer, Dunk took the time off and Brad Thompson started filling in a lot. For a while, it was just Randy and DeMarco, and then they kind of had a rotating cast, people kind of filling in. Eventually, though, Brad gave up playing independent ball. When he came back, it was Randy, DeMarco, and BT. And their producer, I believe, was Michelle Smallman for a little bit, and then Brad Barnes, Meat. And then Dunk and I got the midday show. And from there, it was Randy and BT. I think it was just Randy and BT for a while.
Yeah, but ultimately it ended up being Randy, BT, and Ranj.
Oh, Ranji, that's right.
And then it ended up being you, BT, and Ranji. And then you, me, and BT.
Right.
And now you and me.
That's right.
With Marshy as our producer. By the way, guys, can I let you in on something that happened on Friday?
Sure.
Bradford Bruns, who's a very, very prepared individual when it comes to producing. He was producing, working the board. He always works his tail off. We're coming back from one segment, and it was NFL news and notes. Bradford said NFL nudes and notes. Didn't realize it.
Interesting.
Kept the feet moving, and Danny Mac and I could not let it slide.
Yeah.
We could not. Neither could the text line. They held him really accountable. They said, how about we go back to the nudes? Yeah.
Interesting.
Was that a Brett Favre segment?
That's kind of what I said, actually. Did you hear the podcast?
No.
Oh, my goodness. I said that exact thing.
So the poster child for NFL nudes and notes.
Yeah, and I said, I figured this was going to be a Favre segment.
Interesting. Yeah. Hey, sometimes you slip up, you know?
Do you?
I
Oh, Bradford.
Correct.
Oh, I thought you meant
Brett Favre.
I thought you meant King Crocs.
No, that wasn't a slip up. That was a. He made that decision.
Boy, did he ever.
He made multiple decisions. Oof. Yeah. All right. Hey, we got Izzy coming up at 5:30. So Jason Isringhausen's going to join us at 5:30. Talk a little pitching. We'll do the biggest question of the day next, though.
time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
All right, you heard the man. Time for the biggest question of the day. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, Andrew Marsh.
All right, gentlemen, we were talking earlier today with Blues insider from The Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford, and one of the questions that you guys posed was about the Blues captaincy and whether or not Doug Armstrong has named a captain, what's going on with that. Obviously, Ryan O'Reilly no longer with the team. But today's question is, should the Blues name a captain?
Yeah, because he was suggesting that Doug Armstrong might not name a captain. And what's the value in it and all that? Well, Jamie, no better person to talk to than you about this. So how important is it?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important that you have a captain, especially when you're doing a retool and you've got a blend of younger players that are currently on your roster as well as other young players that are looking to make their mark. You know, the Jimmy Snuggeroods, the Zach Bolduc, Zach Dean, Dvorsky, Dalibor Dvorsky. These guys are all going to be at training camp. And I've seen the teams that are younger, that don't have an established player, and they ride it out with 3 assistant captains, but they're all young guys together, kind of cutting their teeth.
Sure.
This is not the same situation. This is not the same situation at all. And when you look at this roster, the clear captain is Braden Shen. So the argument could be made, well, if it's clearly the captain, why does he need the C? It doesn't matter. You're right. Braden Shen doesn't need the C.
Yeah.
He doesn't. But I feel like he should have it. And he's the guy that's currently organizing all the stuff in the summertime, the training, the skating, the taking care of all sorts of stuff. He's had guys live at his house.
Clear leader.
Jake Neighbors lived with him last year. Like, he is the leader of this team.
Yeah.
So why play games is why I look at it. And when you're in a situation like this, the beginning of the season could be pivotal for this team. And you want to make sure you have the right leaders in place. And I understand we have a leadership group. It doesn't matter. There's always one guy. So any great company that you have, even though it could be a board of directors, a board of governors, there's always the one guy that is the decision maker, or the one that they turn to and go, okay, well, what do you think? That's what you need here. You need a captain that clearly, lays it out there of how this is how we're going to approach training camp. This is what the expectations are. This is the way we play. This is Blues hockey. This is why we do it this way. And Braden Shen's that guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy that will say it verbally and he'll back it up physically. I don't mean go after his teammates. He's not that kind of guy. But he'll go out there and lead by example at the same time. He'll say, if we're going to get in heavy on the forecheck, guess what? The first guy in the forecheck's going to be Braden Shen. He's laying somebody out. That's how you do it. Hey, Zach Dean, you want to buzz around in this league? You want to be good on the forecheck? You want to do the things that make you a St. Louis Blues player? That's what you do. Right there. That's what you do. And you see him in the weight room after? That's what you do. You see him on the ice working on things before and after every practice? That's what you do.
Sure.
So for me, it's not like, look at what those guys do. And they're all different in their own way, which is fine. But you need the one guy that represents the group. And I just think Braden Shen's that guy. Robert Thomas, I know they're trying to groom him into being that guy, and I do believe he'll get there at some point. But it doesn't have to be right now. You don't have to sit there without a captain while you're waiting for another player to become a captain. Go with the guy who is already a captain. And the way he acts and what he does and how he speaks and how he represents the logo. So for me, it's Braden Shen. I am not personally a fan of riding it out without one guy at the top.
How do you think that would be perceived within the locker room?
With no captain?
Yeah.
So it's
not like things will fall apart, and maybe that's what Army's thinking. But at the same time, would it be viewed as a slight to Braden Shen?
Not just to Braden Shen, to whomever.
Yeah.
Right? So if it's Justin Falk or Torrey Krug, that are guys that lead out there, Nick Leddy or Colton Parayko, whoever it is, pick your pony as far as guys that are part of this leadership group. In my opinion, if Army doesn't pick a captain, he's telling the group we don't have a leader. And that's my diagnosis of the situation. I'm not saying that's what Army's saying, and maybe that's not what he's implying, but for me as a player, is nobody has reached up and grabbed a hold of this thing. So now what?
Yeah.
Oh, we had a whole bunch of leaders in here, but we don't have a captain. You told us that. You literally have told us that we don't have a captain. And I understand the young guys coming up, Army's certainly he's dove in big time on trying to communicate and resonate with the younger players that are coming up. The younger players all have captains, or they were captains, and they know there should be a captain. So for an established organization like the St. Louis Blues, I, again, personally don't like having a team that doesn't have one captain wearing the C.
I'm the captain now.
Exactly.
That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Can I say that 9 more times? There you have it. All right, Jason Isringhausen is going to join us next. I am. Yeah, it was a fact. I just shouldn't have said it three times there. Izzy's going to join us. We'll talk to him about Zach Thompson. We'll talk to him about Dakota Hudson, some of these other young pitchers. I know, Jamie, you got a question about Jerome, too. You know, what's the coaching play when it comes to Jerome, who struggled in his major league debut. So we'll talk to Izzy about that next on 101 ESPN. When it comes to purchasing a vehicle, I know that for me, I wanted to make sure that it was a reliable car. We got a great deal on it, of course. I also didn't want to drive around the greater St. Louis and Illinois area and kind of search and hunt down that car. I wanted a spot where I can go and look, whether we're looking at new vehicles or pre-owned vehicles. I wanted one location, and that's what Auto Center Nissan Herculaneum provides. They've got over 700 vehicles on the lot. One location, one spot. Auto Center Nissan Herculaneum. It's relatively brand new. They've got cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, whatever you're looking for. Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum, they can deliver. They also give you free nationwide lifetime warranty when it comes to all their Nissans, and they also have financing options for everyone. So whether you got good credit or bad credit, if you need a ride, Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum, they've got you covered. They also have the 30-day return promise. If you're so confident that you'll drive off the lot and you'll love your vehicle, that you won't need to bring it back, but they do give you a little peace of mind, giving you that 30-day return promise so that within 30 days, if you do need to bring the vehicle back, you can and get a refund. Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum, that's got to be your spot. Tell them Stalter sent you.
Anthony, let's talk about mentality here for a second. Look, a lot of men, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of age, they go through a time where they don't feel quite the same. And they don't really know what the heck is going on. You feel tired, you feel run down, you're stressed out. You don't quite have it like you used to. Mm-hmm. Get into mentality and talk to the board-certified physicians. Anthony and I did this very thing, and what happens is they go through all that. They learn about you, first of all. So they're building your program while talking to you. Then they do a blood panel. And the blood panel gives them all the answers that they need. So for me, I was low on testosterone and a couple other vitamins. And so they put me on my own program, and I feel fantastic right now. I should have went to Mentality a long time ago.
Well, it makes sense, too, because you talk to them about some of the things that you might be feeling. So, you feel run down. I feel tired all the time. I'm always doing coffee or energy drinks, anxious, anxiety, depression in some cases. People, you're dealing with all kinds of stuff, right? Like life comes at you fast. Then when you're working a lot, or you got a family obligation, all that. So you start talking to them, and they say, okay, well, let's kind of take a peek under the hood here. That's when they come in with that blood panel, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, yeah, now it makes sense. I might be low on testosterone. I might be low on certain vitamins. I was low on certain vitamins as well. And then they're like, okay, here's what we got for you. Here's the program, and you're on the program, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa. Okay, I feel better. I feel good. I feel more energized. I feel like, some Sundays, Jamie, I get a workout, and then I go outside. I'm mowing the lawn. I'm doing this. I'm that. I feel like an animal. It's great. And, Jamie, you had introduced me to Mentality, and, I couldn't thank you anymore, man. But you got to go down there. You got to talk to them.
Yeah, talk to him. And it's covered by most insurances. So don't be afraid of that. And, visit either location, West County or South County. Tell them that Jamie and Anthony sent you in. If you can't get there in person, get there online. LowTusa.com. Again, that's mentality. LowTusa.com.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cards win today by a final score of 6-4 over the Pirates. We talked all day long about your St. Louis Blues and St. Louis Cardinals. If you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check it out on the mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have Jason Isringhausen joining us next right here in the Fast Lane. Don't go anywhere. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Cardinals win today in Pittsburgh following a rain delay. Things got a little hairy in the later innings, but the Cardinals do hold on to win 6-4. Zach Thompson pitched well again, 5 innings, allowed 6 hits, but only allowed 2 runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks through 90 pitches in that effort. Andre Palante, Drew Verhagen, and Jojo Romero also pitched. And while Arenado and Goldschmidt had 2 hits apiece, Richie Palacios, 3 hits, 4 at-bats, wound up driving in 2 in the first inning with a double. So the Cardinals do salvage 1 game against Pittsburgh. They win 6-4 today. With Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Let's adore our celebrity line. We have our guy, Izzy, Jason Isringhausen, joining us right now.
Izzy.
What's up, brother?
Hey, boys. How we doing?
Doing great. What'd you think of, what have you thought about Zach Thompson thus far? The kids look pretty good.
Yeah, I think they got him on a regular rotation now, and he can get his work done. It's nice to know as a pitcher what your role is, and he's got a role right now, so I think that's helping him out a little bit.
Izzy, how hard is it for a guy like Zach Thompson, who's a young guy, to kind of be bopping between the bullpen and being a starter? You're up here in the bullpen last year. You think that might be your job this year. They send you back down to stretch you out. How hard is that for a guy to keep adapting?
Well, I think it's tough mentally. I think baseball players are creatures of habit, and we always like to know our roles so we can kind of build a routine around that role. And when you're bouncing back and forth, you're happy to be in the big leagues for sure. But when you're not knowing what you're going to do or when you're going to be used, it can be difficult to stay sharp on the mound and get the right amount of pitches in to where you're not tired. You can't go out there and throw a bullpen and then try to go 3 innings that night. So it's nice to have a routine set for him right now.
Izzy, the last time we chatted with you, you were talking about how, a lot of these young guys, they're kind of rushed. They're kind of rushed through the minor league system. Maybe there's certain mile markers that the team's looking for, and before you know it, they're getting their big league chance. Is there? I know every pitcher's different, but is there a certain time, whether you're a starter and maybe it starts in the minor leagues, or maybe you're a reliever and it's innings? Is there a certain amount of innings or starts that a minor leaguer will start to feel comfortable, and that leads to maybe some more big league success?
I don't believe there's a certain set of innings that, per se. I think it's more about being able to repeat your delivery and being able to throw quality pitches, for a longer period of time, say in an outing, say for 80 pitches, and not fall apart after 20. And it depends on kind of what program some of these kids come out of. There's a chance, when you're a first-round pick and you're coming out of a big program like LSU, say, or Texas or something like that, you could be in the big leagues the next year because you've trained the right way and they had a coach there that knew what they were doing. And some of these kids are coming out of high school, and it's, they just get by on raw power. And they get here, and everybody here has raw power, and the hitters, and then they have to fine-tune their craft. And that sometimes takes longer than anticipated.
Izzy, do you remember your very first Major League appearance?
I started in Chicago against the Cubs, like July of '95. Yeah, I remember.
How'd that go for you? What was the day like for you?
Pretty hectic. I knew I was getting called up, and I started the AAA All-Star game, and I knew I was starting like 6 days later. So I flew straight to Chicago. I called my friends and family, and I had like 130 people on the pass list up in Chicago, and I remember facing the Cubs the first day, taking BP. That was back when pitchers got the hit. And, I remember pulling balls over the Cubs dugout. I was so nervous and excited, and everybody's there trying to yell at me and say hi. And back then, the bullpens were on the field, so I had 50 people standing there next to the bullpen. I was scared. My legs were shaking. But I remember I struck out the first batter I faced, Brian McRae, who was pretty hard to strike out back in the day. And I think I went 6 or 7 innings, gave up 2 runs. I got a no decision, but I remember that night more than I remember that
day. As you should, my friend, as you should. The reason I asked you about that is because Drew Rom just recently getting his first Major League appearance, and everything that you just described is going on for this guy too. And unfortunately, the moment for him, it looked to me like nerves got the best of him. I mean, this is a stuff pitcher, yet he threw 47% fastballs that night with his fastball velos around 90 miles an hour. So he didn't have his best stuff on him, and it ended up hurting him. But for a young guy like that, how hard is it to have a start like that?
Well, I mean, it just knocks you down to earth a little bit. He had made 2 starts in AAA. I saw one of them. And, I saw him pitch in Durham against a good Rays AAA team, and he was throwing that fastball 90 to 92 right by people. He's got a weird kind of funky delivery that the ball kind of sneaks up on hitters, but, it's a really big jump from AAA to the big leagues, and, you still have to be able to locate that fastball no matter what kind of deception you have on it, and sometimes the balls down the middle don't get past really good hitters, best hitters in the world, so it's a learning curve, a learning process, and but you got his feet wet. There's been a lot of guys that made their debut that didn't go so well. Let's just hope he has many years of this, and he makes the adjustments. He'll be fine. It's just it didn't go the way he wanted for sure, but he's there. We've talked about this before, guys. The easy part's getting there. The hard part's staying. So he's got to make some adjustments, but he's got the stuff to do it, and he's young. He's 23 years old.
What's the biggest difference, Izzy, from the way AAA hitters attack a pitcher and the way Major League hitters go about attacking a pitcher?
Well, it's, with the video, Major League hitters are looking for one pitch to hit. And if they get that one pitch, they don't usually miss it. If your best pitch is a slider, they're going to sit on a slider. And if you make a mistake with it, they're going to hit it. And in AAA, they don't have the scouting kind of as much as the big leagues do, and the hitters aren't as good. But that's the thing. Like, I remember playing with Albert all those years. He sometimes wouldn't swing the bat, and he says, "Oh, don't worry, he's going to throw me the pitch I'm looking for," and then he would hit it 400 feet. I mean, it's that type of mentality that these guys have, that they're so disciplined that they don't care if they make an out, but when they get their pitch to hit, they don't miss it. And that's what the good ones do, and you know, that's the difference between AAA and Major League. We always call it a 3A, a 4A, and then there's the big leagues.
Oh, yeah, clearly. One guy, Izzy, I've been actually kind of wanting to talk to you about and ask you your opinion is Jojo Romero. And the reason, obviously, he's been the closer here of late. Obviously, a job you did extremely well. But when you're watching Jojo Romero, what is it that you like the most about this guy?
I just like the fact that he wants to take the ball whenever it's time to pitch. You know, we always talk about pitching as that their best ability is availability. And, you know, granted, knock on wood, he's been healthy, you know, and he's got a great slider, great breaking ball that he can throw in any count, and he can run it up there in the mid-90s. So he's keeping hitters off balance and following the game plan, and can execute his pitches. And when you're pitching late in the game, if you can execute your pitches and keep them in the ballpark, usually good things happen.
No question. Izzy, we always love talking pitching with you, my friend. Be good, and we'll circle back at some point, too.
Yes, sir. Anytime, guys. You know that.
Hey, Izzy, I wanted to talk to you real quick. One last thing. The beautiful young lady, your daughter, had her 21st birthday here recently. So happy birthday to her. How'd the Isringhausen family celebrate that birthday?
Well, I wanted her to come home, but she wouldn't come home. They had a week off of volleyball practice, so she wanted to go to Charleston. And we went to Charleston and had a great time. I think I liked her 21st birthday better than she did. I tried her to get a few small shots to do with me, and she wouldn't do them, so I did hers for her.
as a good father should, Izzy. Well, happy birthday to her again, and thanks a lot for coming on here, buddy. We really appreciate your time.
You got it, guys. Anytime.
Take care. Good stuff. You too. That's Jason Isringhausen. Great stuff from Izzy, as always.
I love that. I love that big animal.
I love how he's talking about Albert Pujols. He's like, oh, you know,
it's true though.
He'll throw me the pitch I'm looking for, and then I'll hit it 480 feet.
It's true though. You go back and watch some of Albert's at bats, and some of them you're like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
Or he'll not quite get exactly the cut on it he wanted, and then he'll make an adjustment. Even in an at bat, he would make an adjustment and then just clobber that thing.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
One of the best pure hitters. I happen to have a pleasure to watch.
Still hitting Ding Dong Johnsons last year.
Yeah.
My gosh.
That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. We have what you missed, criticisms, compliments next.
Fellas, odds are right now you're paying too much for your ED meds. Unless you're going to the medicine shop in St. Charles, your destination for cheap ED meds. They've got sildenafil for less than $2 a pill. I've seen this advertised several places. $2 a pill, even less than $2 a pill, is fantastic, and that's only at the medicine shop in St. Charles. Prescription is required. Crazy schedules, school, athletics, you name it, after-school activities. It can be tough sometimes to get to the pharmacy. It can be tough to pick up those prescriptions. It can be tough to get the medicine that you're needing. So why not choose the medicine shop in St. Charles, where they have free discreet shipping and delivery of the medicines to your home or your workplace. It's a fantastic program. I take full advantage of it. I also take full advantage of the full pharmacy that they do have. So whenever I have something that I'm not sure of, I head in there. I ask the questions. They give me the answers. And if I'm not sure about something, they clarify it for me. They're just a fantastic staff over there. The personal care and attention that you truly deserve. So please get over there. Tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you in. If you can't get there in person, get there online at stcharles.pharmacy. That's stcharles.pharmacy.
anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast, available at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Center. Talked about Waino's performance last night. And actually, we didn't even get to Waino because our guy Jamie went in on Tyler O'Neill again, so don't want to miss that. Talked about clutch performances and how do you even evaluate clutch performances. I talked about one thing that I want to see from 2024, and Jamie, I thought you asked some really good questions in that segment. You were kind of pushing me on my opinion on it.
Well, I just wanted to get to the bottom of it.
It wound up being kind of a good exercise what the Cardinals could look like for 2024. Jeremy Rutherford, Izzy also broke down, so those are our interviews today, also broke down the NFC West and did our NFL odds predictions for MVP and things like that. So it's all available on the podcast, which you can download after the show. What do we got for criticisms and compliments, Marsh?
Yeah, criticism of Aaron Rodgers from the 314. Aaron Rodgers is the Dave Matthews Band of the NFL.
Well said. Text of the, I don't know if we got a text of the day, but that's the text of the day for me.
All right.
Well done. I'm going to slow clap it.
Oh, it's not that good, guys.
No, it is.
From the 618, when's the new segment Nudes and Notes?
Yeah.
Got to bring Bradford back on that.
Yeah. Is that like a quick hitter segment?
Yeah, it depends. Could be longer than you think.
Yeah, you never know. Depends on the nudes.
That's right.
Interesting.
And the notes.
What is the ratio between nudes and notes?
About 3 to 1.
Yeah.
And are the notes about the nudes? Yeah. Or are they just notes?
No, they're typically notes about the nudes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, more of a like scouting report.
Yeah, a scouting report.
Yeah, analytics.
Analytics, exactly.
Of an analytical breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like analytics, so I guess we won't do it.
Don't like these.
Some of them will like these. Yep.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. You just skip them if you don't like them.
Are the notes like footnotes, like you would see at the bottom of like a history book?
Like
you have little pictures on the side.
Little bullet points.
There's little numbers that actually references on the bottom.
Nope, you're thinking of citations.
That's exactly what I'm thinking
These would not be citations. These would be, as Jamie described them, analytics on the nudes.
Gotcha. Yep. Interesting. Okay. From the 636 compliment. Thanks for letting Cardinal Nation vent during these trying times.
Absolutely. You can always vent via our mic drop feature too. I feel like we've underutilized the mic drop feature
It's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a minute.
What are we doing, guys? I haven't heard from our people in a while.
Yeah, I don't know, Anthony.
Well, that's unacceptable. We got to do a mic drop tomorrow.
Maybe we'll have a full mic drop show.
We're going to do a mic drop.
Nothing but mic drops.
Nothing but mic drops.
You know what? We'll call it a mic drop theme.
Yes.
Okay? I don't know what it's going to be.
Just send us whatever you think.
We're going to do a theme throughout the day.
And then Lisa has one, and we actually talked about Lisa, and she was actually the inspiration for one of our segments today. She says, what a great show. Thanks, Marsh, for trying to share the frustration of Cardinal Nation. Appreciate all of you. Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa. We appreciate you. Good stuff, as always.
Very much so.
You guys are frustrated, too. It's not just me.
Yeah. I think there's levels of frustration.
Yeah.
There's certain things that get Jamie more than me.
I'm frustrated with certain things, that's for sure.
Yeah. I feel like we all have different perspectives, too, which also lead into the frustrations. You know? Ultimately, though, guys, it's good to get it out. Got to get it out.
It is. Got to empty that out every now and then.
You got to empty it out.
I'm just frustrated that I'll go home, I'll turn the TV on, and then I got to watch 3 hours of just BS.
No, not tonight.
Change the channel,
not
Marshy.
tonight's great. Yeah.
Change the channel. You'll show them.
I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I don't know what's going on tonight.
You'll figure it out, Marsh.
Yes,
we believe in you. We've got instant replay coming up right now. Tomorrow we'll be back from 2 to 6 here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN for Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. I hope everybody has a pleasant Wednesday evening. Be safe. Thanks for listening. And again, we'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. See ya.